Okay. Hindi man yan full board, no?
Ma'am Poy, I received already the notice of acceptance ng aking ethics, expedited man nakalagay.
Expedited dyan. Hindi man vulnerable ang populations mo.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay lang. So hopefully we start gathering in January.
January po, Ma'am Poy.
Yes.
Nag-adjust na lang yun ko kay siyempre wa man ko'y control sa mga bagay-bagay, so I have to adjust my schedule.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Doc Ann.
Good morning, Doc Ann.
Good morning, Doc Ann.
Lumabas lang ako sa budget hearing.
May budget hearing na naman kayo?
Yes, ma'am. Wala pa kami natapos. Kagabi, alas 10 na kami nag-end.
Di ba kahapon yun?
Oh, kahapon, ma'am, sus 4 days na aming budget hearing. Hindi pa tapos.
Mahirap itong, ano bang problema? Walang iba budget?
Ay, sorry.
Hindi, ma'am. Ang iba, over ang budget. Ang iba naman, kulang naman ang budget.
Ay, yun na siya.
Nag-overprice ang iba.
Ay, sige lang. Ay, naki.
Lagi, ma'am, sige lang. Hopefully, last day na ito. At hindi na kami abutin ng alas 10 ng gabi.
You mean after this, balik ka doon?
Yes po, ma'am. Nag-out lang talaga ako. Siyempre, Cedric, final defense ni Cedric, no? Dapat I'm here.
Ayan, dapat naman. Wala pa ang Doc Sam.
Hi, Doc Rachel. Good morning.
Ang magsunod nito, ma'am Poy, si Leia na, no?
Oo, dapat.
Medyo
Ano pa lang siya?
pa. 1 month and a half pa yung implementation ko. Siguro mga April pa.
Malapit na yan. Madali na lang yan.
Hindi, ang ano dyan, once you're able to gather data, dali naman lang. Si Kalay ba, wala pa niya nahatag ang kuan niya, nagpahinay-hinay man si Manay.
Sige, ma'am, ikulitin namin.
Lagi. Pero kay kanong saan na po to, kay nagsakit na po siya. Sige na, relax. Ay, naku.
Oy, Ma'am Poy, in fairness, maka-stress din po ba? Dahil siguro sa pandemic at saka alam mo yung utak mo gasto masyado. Ano din, twice ba ako nagkasakit?
Oh, grabe yan ng kasakit niya ba?
Anak yun.
But surviving, I'm good.
Okay lang. Mamala importante. Basta makasurvive.
Yeah, og sa ingon na ni Cedric, nag-chika mi ko patient Cedric, kay that's always the lesson that we're going to learn from doing all these things. But at least we learn many things, di ba, Ced?
Yes, exactly.
Ay, yes. Resilience ba yung imuhang topic, no? Noon sa kanila.
Ambot na lang, ha? I-text natin si Kuande, Doc Sam.
Nandiyan na si Doc Sam po.
Alariya na?
Yes po.
Congratulations pala, SPC, no? Limited face-to-face is already approved.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Pero hindi pa yata sa graduate school, no?
Hindi pa ang graduate school, ma'am.
Bagay mas okay pa man sila ngayon, at least medyo ano pa dahil wala pang face-to-face. Kasi hirapan ko dyan sila pag nag-resume na tayo face-to-face. Biruin punta yan sila dito ng Friday, tapos uwi na naman sila ng Sunday.
True. Baka mabawasan ang enrollment natin.
Yeah. Sige lang. So Doc Sam, you're there?
Doc Sam?
Yes po.
Ayan.
There na siya. Okay. See. So Doc Rachel, everyone in, I think?
Yes po.
Yes, we are. Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, I think it's about time. It's about time that we start. So good morning, one and all. So we're here today to listen to Cedric's presentation of his paper. So we'll see how much probably work he has done. Try to evaluate whatever there is that needs to be refined. And then as I was telling him, kasi sabi niya kanya na, ano ko, I pray that this ends well. Sabi ko sa kanya, every defense always ends well.
So,
So with that in mind, Cedric, so you don't have to worry. So I think we're ready to listen to your presentation. And then after this, we will subject this to some form of evaluation and assessment. So ask you some questions, okay, in between. So if you are prepared to give the opening prayer, are
Yeah.
you?
Yes, Doc.
Okay. So you give the prayer first, and then after this, Dr. Sam, Dr. Rachel, Doc O, and myself will evaluate your paper, your presentation, and of course give you feedbacks, no? You and your advisor also. Sige. So, ilang minutes? 20 minutes?
25 daw, sabi ni Doc
Oh,
Hazel.
25. Okay, sige. So 25 minutes. So you can start with a word of prayer, then we move to the presentation. Okay.
All right. Hello, good morning, dear panelists. I am so honored to be in this moment right now. This is the pinnacle of my final defense. My research title is Psychological Well-Being and Conscientiousness Among College Teachers in Davao City. I am Ced, by the way, and my research advisor is Dr. Mary Ann Rose Bartolo. Thank you so much, Doc Ann, for helping me all throughout my paper. Let's have the opening prayer. Dear Almighty Father, I graciously seek for your guidance and strength in this final defense for my thesis completion. Fill me with your Holy Spirit to deliver this presentation with competence and courage. May you bless my panelists for them to help me to improve my paper better. May you set out our minds with openness and clarity to understand the implications of this research endeavor. In this pandemic time, grant us the optimum health and well-being to move forward, to continually serve our purpose and realize both our strengths and weaknesses in everything that we do. Grant us the hope and perseverance in all of our shortcomings, and may you bless all of the people who suffered in this pandemic time. May they recover physically, mentally, and spiritually by your divine presence. I humbly pray for the success of this final defense in your mighty name. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So first, I want to emphasize this one. Why did I choose the study? As you all know, the COVID-19 has really changed the way we do things in socializing, in working, in commuting, and even in education. The pandemic has really restructured the way how we communicate to others and socialize towards the extent of observing safety health protocols, no, like social distancing. This has paved the way to remote learning or distance learning or what they know as online classes. And on top of that, college teachers had really adjusted. They need to really innovate how they do teaching in order for the continuance of education. And for this thought, I want to know, how are the college teachers doing? I know a lot of college teachers who are struggling. Are their well-being affected in this global shift? Do they still perform diligently or conscientiously in their teaching practice that can vitally affect the quality of education they can deliver to our students? And I want to know their level, the current level of psychological well-being. What areas or factors needed to be addressed here? How about their level of conscientiousness in terms of their teaching practice? And what areas or facets needed to be addressed here? Of course, as our deal, the main goal also of this research is to materialize a proposed program that can be addressed the essential factors to significantly improve well-being and diligence of our college teachers in their field of work as educators in the pandemic time. That is our deal during the proposal defense. So the following parties will benefit from this research. Of course, the college teachers, human resource management offices, It will also help in the innovation in the teaching methods and the practices. Further research as well. By the way, dear panelists, my research actually benchmarked from the research of Sir Miko Del Calzada. I think he is the only one MS Psych graduate last year. His research is about social well-being, and I was inspired during the research colloquium, which helped me craft this research. Also, to materialize a psychological well-being enhancement program. For the research gap, so my study has utilized a framework that is relatively new, since many studies have already explored the dimensions of the psychological well-being for the elderly and the adolescents. As I was perusing a lot of articles, I cannot, view a lot of, I cannot view journals that have topics that is grounded for adults and even young adults. Wala masyado. That's why I believe this is one of the gap of my study, and also the inclusion of this conscientiousness personality trait as a variable plus the unique social demographic population becomes the gap of my research, which I try to focus more into the tertiary educators. Since as I was researching, there is only limited studies that focus on teachers. Most of the research are really funded or are really focused towards preschool teachers, high school teachers, but none so far to college teachers. Okay, for my theoretical framework, originally psychological well-being came from the theory of Carol Rift. She sees that psychological well-being, no, is the overall determinant of one's mental health and emotional functioning. She also presents, no, the six traits or factors of psychological well-being like autonomy, environmental mastery, and so on and so forth. Also, I have the theory of conscientiousness, no? It is one of the big five personality trait theory by McCrae and Costa, along with other personality traits such as agreeableness, extroversion, openness, and the rest. So these are the few theories that I have used for my study. Okay, this is the approved framework. On page 19 of the manuscript, you can see the approved framework of my study. So, psychological well-being along with the six factors serve as my independent variable or my predictor variable that is correlated with conscientiousness, which serve as my dependent variable or my outcome variable. So, this is actually the approved framework of my study during my proposal defense. All right, for my statement of the problem, no, so my research generally aims to know and to simply determine the relationship between psychological well-being and conscientiousness among college teachers in Davao City. You may kindly see the research objectives or this SOP questions below, no, from it is also stated on pages 19 to 20 of the manuscript. So these are the direction of my study. I have seven SOP questions, by the way. And for my hypothesis, my study has then proposed two null important hypotheses which serve as the direction of my data analysis. So it is hypothesis one: there is no significant relationship between psychological well-being and conscientiousness among college teachers. And hypothesis two: psychological well-being does not significantly affect or predict the level of conscientiousness among college teachers. All right, moving forward is the method that I've used for my study. So on page 21, you can see this part here, no? My study adapts a descriptive correlational research design that analyzes the quantitative data among college teachers in Davao City. The study was conducted within 22 private and public colleges, schools, and universities located in Davao City, Davao del Sur. The participants of this research are randomly selected from both public and private schools using simple random sampling method. And for my participants, they were composed of 180 college instructors, lecturers, professors, no? These are the assistant professors and associate professors coming from different colleges and universities in Davao City. So out of the 180 participants, 91.1% or 164 are private college teachers, while 8.9% or 16 are college teachers coming from public colleges and universities. Okay, so let's proceed to the measures that I have used. No, this is stipulated on pages 22 to 29 of my manuscript. So I have used two survey type scale for my instruments. No, so these are the following: the psychological well-being scale. This is an 18-item short version by Carol D. Riff. Along with this one are also the six factors or the six subscales. No, this will help measure the level of psychological well-being and also its corresponding factors. The second one is the Big Five Aspect Scale, or the BFAS, focusing more towards conscientiousness. Now, this is a 20-item scale by DeYoung, Kilty, and Peterson. So this will measure the conscientiousness personality trait along with its two facets, industriousness and orderliness. All right, so I actually asked permission to the authors of this survey scales, and I was also granted the permission. They actually emailed me and sent me that permission that I can use this to my study. So I was permitted by them. I was very happy. No, I was also conducted a pilot testing among 10 participants to test the instrument's psychometric properties before I actually conducted my actual data gathering. Okay, so here are the results and findings of my study. So let's move on to SOP1. So SOP1 pertains to the demographic profile of the participants. No? Table 1 of the manuscript on page 35 specifically analyzes the sex, the age group, and the years of teaching experience. No? As for the sex, among the 180 participants, 46.7% are males and 53.3% are females. As for the age group, 45.6% belongs to the 22 to 30 age group, while 54 to 4% belongs to the 31 to 60 age group. So as you can compare, mas marami po yung adult or yung mga nasa middle adulthoods stages na ng mga population or mga respondents ko. As for the years of teaching experience, there is only 4.4% of the participants that have 1 to 6 months of teaching experience. This is the lowest, no? While 36.1% of the participants have already 10 years and above years of teaching experience. This is the highest. So as you can see po, my respondents or most of them are already seasoned teachers, no? They already gained and they already accumulated the number of years of teaching na they're really considered to be seasoned na talaga or mga dekalibre na. No, having that amount of teaching experience, no, I believe this can also validate the responses in my instruments for my study. Okay, so for my SOP2, this now pertains to the level of the psychological well-being of the college teachers in terms of the 6 factors. On the table 2 of my manuscript on page 37 to 38, it shows a high descriptive ratings on the factors of self-acceptance, environmental mastery, positive relationships with others, and autonomy. While the factor of purpose in life shows a moderate descriptive rating with a mean score of 3.70. Among all of the 6 factors, only personal growth had showed a very high descriptive rating with a mean score of 5.30. This implies that college teachers have a strong feeling of continued development wherein they see themselves as growing and expanding over time. Okay? Overall, college teachers have a high level of psychological well-being, which can be relayed that they have a better impression of their overall mental health and emotional well-being. As supported by the study of Bentia, a high level of psychological well-being in teachers implies that they have a positive cultural impression, no, on their work environments and in their own profession as well in teaching, hence resulting to fewer mental health problems. All right, so let's proceed to SOP3. So this now pertains to the level of conscientiousness of the college teachers in terms of the two facets, namely industriousness and orderliness. On the table 3 of the manuscript on page 40, it shows both high descriptive ratings for industriousness with a mean score of 4.53 and also orderliness with a mean score of 4.47, no? So as you can see, their results is very near to each other. The mean score are very near to each other. So this coincidental result then support the claim that these facets are quite identical in their characteristic and in their nature as referred by Robert, no? The overall results have then revealed that college teachers in Davao City exhibited an overall high level of conscientiousness in regards to their teaching practice. This implies that most tertiary teachers have remained highly industrious and orderly in monitoring students, no? In creating educational materials like doing video lectures, in facilitating synchronous and asynchronous sessions, and other tasks that concerns teaching. More specifically, college teachers are likely to remain disciplined, striving for achievement in their work, and at the same time, they highly possess a strong sense to keep things organized and tidy in their work environment. Okay, so for SOP4, this pertains to the relationship between psychological well-being and conscientiousness among college teachers in Davao City. On the table 4 of the manuscript on page 41, it then illustrates a moderate positive relationship between the two variables. The value of the correlation coefficient indicated that there is a statistical significance because the p-value is less than the significant level of 0.05. Hence, we can say that hypothesis 1, there is no significant relationship between psychological well-being and conscientiousness, should be rejected. All right. Moving forward also, the finding is supported by the study conducted in Finland by Koko, Tolvanen, and Polkinen, wherein they noticed an association of the big five personality traits and psychological well-being. Relatively, there is also a correlational study by Grant, Langham, Fox, and Anglim that also corroborated this finding, wherein it had revealed that extroversion, neuroticism, and conscientiousness are correlated similarly with both subjective and psychological well-being. Okay. Moving to my SOP5, it now pertains to the influence of the psychological well-being on conscientiousness since the study seeks to find out if psychological well-being as the IV can significantly influence or predict conscientiousness as the DV with the use of regression analysis. So on the table 5 of my manuscript on page 41, it then describes that this variable, psychological well-being, is a significant predictor of conscientiousness with a beta value of 0.62. No? Overall, the model was significant, no? Because the p-value is less than 0.001. Hence, we can say that hypothesis 2, psychological well-being, does not significantly influence conscientiousness among college teachers, should be rejected. Okay, this finding is also supported by a recent study by Hicks and Mehta, wherein their study confirmed that personality traits, including conscientiousness, can predict psychological well-being alone, no? With the exclusion of the variable type A personality trait. Moving to my SOP 6.1, this now pertains to the multiple regression model between psychological well-being and the industriousness facet of conscientiousness among college teachers in Davao City. On the table 6 of my manuscript on page 42, it shows that that the overall model was significant, no? Which means that all factors combined can predict the 48% of the variance in the industriousness scores among the college teachers. The further analysis of the individual factors showed that only environmental mastery, no, with a beta score of 0.25, self-acceptance with a beta score of 0.20, purpose in life with a beta score of 0.12 and autonomy with a beta score of 0.10 can then significantly predict the industriousness facet. So there are four factors that can predict industriousness. Okay, using the multiple regression model. Okay, for my SOP 6.2, no, this now pertains to the multiple regression model between psychological well-being and the orderliness facet of conscientiousness among the college teachers in Davao City. In table 7 of my manuscript on page 43, it shows that the overall model was significant, no? Because the p-value was less than 0.001. Moreover, the model accounts for 18% of the variance in the orderliness scores. The further analysis shows that only environmental mastery with a beta value of 0.15 can significantly predict conscientiousness in terms of the orderliness facet. So as what you can compare here, it was only environmental mastery, no, um, that can predict conscientiousness to both industriousness and orderliness. Also, according to the MRA results, environmental mastery has then revealed to be the strongest and the best predictor of overall conscientiousness among the 6 factors of psychological well-being for college teachers, with this beta value of 0.32, no? Which implies that when a teacher is able to have a sense of mastery and competence in his environment, no, then his level of diligence can also be significantly and greatly improved as well. So it was only environmental mastery and also self-acceptance, no? By the way, for the environmental mastery, it was supported by the study of Ahmad, Hassan, and Rullan, wherein his study established that teachers' competency would positively affect their level of industriousness that can influence the students' academic development and skills as well, no? So for self-acceptance, no, this is the second strongest and best predictor with a beta value of 0.27 for overall conscientiousness. So this supports that when college teachers accept the different aspects of themselves, the multiple aspects of themselves, their strengths, their weaknesses, no, it can then enhance their productivity in the teaching practice. This finding is also aligned to the study of Membuya, wherein it had evidently shown that teacher self-acceptance is important for the level of effort that they exert to their teaching methods. Furthermore, significant finding shows that both environmental mastery and self-acceptance were the only strongest predictors of overall conscientiousness if it is regressed as a single variable. The supported literature to other predictors of conscientiousness for the industriousness facet, which are autonomy and purpose in life, are discussed thoroughly on page 50 of the manuscript. Okay, so now let us proceed to the summary, conclusion, and recommendations of the study, which are based from the results, of course. So, college teachers have possessed a high level to both their overall psychological well-being and conscientiousness. Also, psychological well-being showed a moderate positive correlation towards conscientiousness, which means that when there is an increase in their psychological well-being, there is also a moderate increase on their conscientiousness as well. Excuse me. Number 3, psychological well-being is a significant predictor of conscientiousness in the regression analysis. So it can influence and predict conscientiousness, no? The psychological well-being. Okay, um, the multiple regression analysis model, no, findings suggest that the factors of self-acceptance, environmental mastery, autonomy, and purpose in life can significantly predict industriousness facet, while only environmental mastery can significantly predict the orderliness facet among college teachers in Davao City. And the top findings showed that both environmental mastery and self-acceptance were the only strongest predictor and significant predictor of overall conscientiousness among college teachers in Davao City. Here are the critical recommendations for my study, also based from the findings of my study. College teachers may then practice self-care activities to help regulate and maintain and even enhance their psychological well-being, such as breathing, light to moderate exercise, no, proper diet, and sleep hygiene. College teachers should also do consistent self-checks for both their physical and mental health conditions. Number three, human resource management or admin offices of colleges and universities could also employ distressful and recreational social activities outside their work environment, like sports or team building, perhaps. And also to utilize the proposed psychological well-being enhancement program intended solely for college teachers. So later on, I will share this one to you. I will discuss the implications of my psychological well-being enhancement program. And now let's proceed to the proposed psychological well-being enhancement program. I actually partnered it with a lot of literature because I love to read self-care and self-help books. So I hope I can make justice to this program. So, for my SOP 7, this can answer my SOP 7, no? Based on the findings, what enhancement program can be developed. So, you may see pages 55 to 60 for the complete set or for the complete text of the program in my manuscript. So, the proposed program is also stipulated on chapter 6. Okay, beginning on page 55. So the psychological well-being enhancement program is focused on the 6 factors of psychological well-being. No? Namely self-acceptance, environmental mastery, and so on and so forth. It is planned to be delivered within 12 weeks or 2 to 3 months time period, twice a week, no, for the entire duration of the program. So this program is also focused on enhancing the psychological well-being of college teachers, no, solely based from the results of the study, since I try to partner it with special coaching sessions with me, no, for me to focus more into the strongest predictors of psychological well-being, which are environmental mastery and self-acceptance. So also the program is partnered with adaptive and practical strategies of the self-care vitality wheel pathways. This is by Susie Reading. As I read a lot of self-care books, I try to realize that it is good to partner a program with self-care, no? Not only psychological well-being, but also to partner it with self-care because it is really helpful to one's mental health. Okay, so as what you can see, this is the sample program design and timeline. The overall time frame will be 12 weeks and 3 months. You may see it on pages 55 to 59 of my manuscript. No? I want to feature the importance of self-acceptance and environmental mastery because they serve as the significant predictors of diligence of teachers or conscientiousness. The major goal of this program is to give emphasis to psychoeducation, no, and the development of self-care practices to improve one's overall functioning and well-being to all aspects of a person's life. I want to also make a disclaimer, no, that this program can be also be tailor fit to other professionals, not only for college teachers. It can also be tailor fit towards the needs of other professionals like hospital employees or people working on the clinical field, no. So I also believe that this program is very helpful to the overall development of the person. I believe that is the end of my presentation, dear panelists. Thank you so much for listening. Advanced Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Okay, so thank you, Cedric. That was thorough.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So after listening to the presentation and after, I think, evaluating the manuscript, no? I think this is we received this earlier. So may I maybe start with the general comments. So if you probably evaluate the paper now, looking at it now, finished na siya and everything, no? So what would you say would be the merits of the study?
Merits of the study.
No, that's okay, Kwan. Kaning, ano That's okay, Cedric. We will ano this. I will ano this to the panel mo na. So anything, merits, and then probably some general comments and suggestions about the whole study itself. So in its totality. Yes, Doc Sam.
Congratulations, Cedric. No, finally, you were able to present the results of your study, and I really appreciate the program, okay, that you have formulated, because this program is very helpful to teachers, especially during this time of pandemic, because psychological well-being is one of the areas that is often neglected in the academy. We always think that because teachers are in the position of being the master of the classroom, the teacher is not affected by psychological distress. But it's otherwise, actually, especially this time of pandemic when we were challenged with so many aspects of our teaching profession, especially in our field of nursing, where we really have to come up with students who are skilled, when they graduate from SPC, so that they could compete globally. So that is one of the dilemmas that we had, actually, when we went into um, virtual learning. And but even learning those gadgets and technology had been a challenge to a lot of teachers during the pandemic. So I think there was anxiety, I would admit, actually, when we were locked down in March 12, 2020. So that was the start of the lockdown. I thought it would only be a few days. Until now, the pandemic's still on. So we were caught flat-footed and unprepared, with the situation. So everyone, I think, suffered some kind of imbalance. So anyway, this is a very good study, and I commend you for this, Cedric, being a former student in research. So I'll just make some suggestions later when it comes to the format. Okay, so
Yeah.
thank you.
Okay. So thanks, Dr. Sam. Yeah. Any other comments from the rest of the panel members? So okay na. Nothing. All clear. Okay. So as Doc Sam was saying, maybe we can probably look into the details later on, no? But siguro, sabi nga, generally, maybe you'll have to look at the formatting again. Ano lang. And please get this edited because ang tenses mo dito, ang iba present tense paghihapon, ang iba future tense paghihapon. So meaning that the study is done. So maybe this is something that you can probably look into. So, okay. Sige. So, now let's go to the specifics. So we start from the title page down. Ano nakita natin? Walang babagawin sa ano?
Meron akong suggestion, Dr.
Yes.
Okay, so sa cover page, Cedric, dapat capital letters ang Master of Science in Psychology. Ano siya, uppercase lahat.
Okay.
Tapos pag mong i-bold yung name mo. You don't use bold.
Okay.
You don't like bold, Cedric.
Okay, sige po. Pina-follow ko lang yung format ng mga old na mga students.
Hindi binabold. And also, yung December, hindi siya uppercase lahat. Only letter D, okay, is uppercase.
Lowercase to.
Wala ka pang approval sheet, no? So, okay lang.
Wala siyang approval sheet. Okay.
Ang format natin sa acknowledgement, Cedric, nag-uumpisa sa pangalan, hindi sa who. If you look at the outputs that we had before, pangalan muna, no? Tapos you end with a semicolon. Okay, pangalan, ano ang kanyang role sa ano mo, anong ginawa niya, and then your acknowledgement, no?
Okay.
And semicolon. I think that if you start with your advisor, tama ba? O, tama ko.
Yeah.
Start with Dr. Bartolo, but you put, wala nang two, no? Dr. Mary Ann.
Yeah. Alisin na yung mga lahat na to.
The research advisor.
Okay.
So, pwede naman first person kasi acknowledgement. Who?
Then maybe he could move, Doc Sam, he could move the panel members right after the advisor before the statisticians.
Statistician ka agad. After pa sila, Doc, mag-PhD talaga to. Nakikita na mag-enroll si Cedric ng PhD. Panel muna, bago yung
Statistician. Okay.
Okay, yan ang order natin sa
Yeah.
format natin.
And ang last paragraph mo, of course, doon na sa Lord God Almighty. Nilagay mo kasi sa first
Ay, oo.
Doon yun sa
Baliktarin mo,
alisin mo doon sa sa first paragraph, doon mo ilagay sa last para.
Yeah.
Ayan.
Above all.
I would like to thank above all. I would like to thank.
Nasa last, Cedric, ang above all.
Doon sa last na ganyan.
Dapat pinaka-special si Lord, no?
Yeah.
Yes, oo.
Pinaka-last na yan. At saka, initials mo lang
cjrmandap.
RM.
Okay.
CRM.
Okay.
Okay.
Dalawa po pangalan mo?
Cedric Joseph
Joseph.
R. Mandap.
Rullan.
Okay. Let's
Okay.
proceed to the table of contents.
Wala na tayo. Okay.
Old pa rin, no? Kasi white chapters ka. Okay lang.
Oo, kasi old format yung i-follow ko, Doc Sam.
Okay lang.
Anong format ito?
Pero ang laman mo, bago, literature review. Kasi review of literature dati. Nag-chapter pa rin siya, Doc Poy.
Oo nga, no?
Pero bago ang kanyang nilagay. Study site setting yan dati. Sige
So,
lang, okay lang yan.
consistency lang.
Consistency na lang kung old review
kung
of literature.
Okay.
Tapos hypothesis lang, wala nang of the study. Hypothesis.
Alright. Review of literature. Review of related?
Literature. Baligtarin mo yan. Lagyan mo ng of.
Review of literature.
Literature na agad.
Tapos sa method mo, ang study site is setting.
Okay.
Tapos, ang procedure, hindi siya data collection sa bago to eh. Procedure lang.
Procedure. Okay.
Tapos sa old, analysis lang, walang data. Sa bago yan.
Yung measures, tama po ba, Doc?
Measures lang siya.
Okay.
Sa old. Ngayon, data measures na siya. Tapos wala tayong chapter 5, Cedric.
Ano po ilagay ko
Ang
for the
chapter 5,
summary?
ang ilagay mo dyan yung program.
Yung program mo.
Chapter 7 ba yun? Chapter 6. Wala kasi na yung chapter 6. Ang chapter 5 ay yung psychological well-being enhancement program. Yan yung chapter 5. Wala tayong, yung conclusion 1 recommendations will become subheadings at the end of your discussion.
Okay.
Ganyan ang format.
Okay. Parang heading lang pala siya. Okay.
Yeah, subheading lang siya
Yes.
na. Kung meron kang, kung wala kang limitations, okay lang. Kasi before the limitation, after the limitations kasi yan. Pero walang subheading limitations. Ano lang siya, conclusion, tapos nag-enumerate ka ba sa conclusion mo? Kasi pwede naman pag quantity.
Ano siya, numerical.
Okay lang. Pwede recommendations kasi quantity naman.
Numerical.
Okay.
May heading lang siya tapos numerical na siya.
Yes. Parang ganun din, based on the findings of the study, the following are concluded. Based on the conclusion, the following are recommended. Based on the findings and conclusions. The following are recommended. Tapos 1, 2, 3, 4. Ganun lang siya. Tapos mag-chapter 5 ka, yan na yung proposed program, yung intervention program.
Okay.
May,
So,
actually, maganda naman yung result mo, pero to enhance. I think that's correct. No? Dili siya kanang, pag-yapon siya, you still address them. Parang responsive to the findings para kasi enhancement siya. Hindi naman negative ang findings mo. Positive. Okay, so
Ayan.
tama yung curriculum vitae niya, Doc Boy.
tama?
Hindi pa
Okay.
biographical
Sige.
sketch.
Okay, let's see.
Tama na tayo dyan.
I was confused, Doc Sam, no? I just wanted to... I don't know if tama po ba ito. Should I remove this one, biographical sketch, and ito na lang
Ay, naglagay ka? Isa lang, curriculum vitae lang. Kasi all
Tanggalin na
for...
po ito.
Huwag ka na mag-biographical sketch. Kasi redundancy na yan.
Okay.
Dapat CV lang talaga.
Okay, tinanggal ko
Hindi
na po.
ka na mawala niyan. Okay. Now, let's look at your abstract.
Okay, abstract.
Your abstract should be written in block style. Walang ano yan. And I think you have to recast. Your abstract,
Boy,
alin?
ang arrangement, ang abstract before the table of contents after acknowledgement.
After
Yeah.
acknowledgement po.
Abstract, tapos one, let's do,
Abstract tapos table of contents.
alisin mo dun sa table of contents mo, kasi nahuli yung abstract mo.
Oh, okay.
Mauna yan. Mauna yung abstract. Okay? Ayan.
Baliktad. Tapos,
After approval sheet po dapat.
is acknowledgement. Approval sheet, no? Title of page, approval sheet,
acknowledgement, Cedric. Marami yan sila.
Acknowledgements. Abstract.
Okay.
Tapos, table of contents.
Contents. Listed tables.
Tapos, i-block mo tong iyong
Okay.
yung abstract kasi naglagay kang it is concluded, isama mo na siya doon.
Yeah. Alisin na yan sa angkwan.
So, yung kasi.
Recast mo lang mo, Cedric, no? Your abstract should be a summary of the whole paper itself. Therefore, it should present the findings in answer to the SOP and the hypothesis. Para makita na to ang logical flow gani. So ganun din pag sa summary mo, ganun din tak. So ang findings mo ganun. So i-recast lang 'yan.
Okay.
Ayusin mo lang 'yan later on.
Tapos Cedric, ang keywords na word, hindi nagkapalit sila. Yan ang hindi italic. Ang italic yung psychological well-being.
Oo nga.
Nagkapalit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Naka-strict ako, no?
Okay lang, Doc Sam.
So, wag mong i-bold yung chapter 1 at saka introduction. Hindi tayo nag-bold sa old format.
Hindi i-bold, Doc Sam, this one?
Hindi tayo nag-bold sa old format. At saka capital letter yung chapter.
How about itong introduction? I-bold to?
Hindi rin. Hindi tayo
Ganyan lang.
Ganyan niya.
Okay.
Ayaw
Old
nga natin
format
ng
pa man
bold,
yan.
di ba? Hindi tayo gumagamit ng bold.
So, okay. So, we're done with the preliminary pages. Okay. Now, let's move to the introduction. Anything that is missing or anything that should be revised or anything that should be, in the introduction?
Actually,
sige.
Ay, okay mo, psychological well-being, tapos itong
Yeah, nariyan siya. That's true.
5-paragraph
rule po. Di-follow ko.
Ang Cedric, almost equal sizes para maganda siya tingnan. Parang ang paragraphs mo, mas maganda siya tingnan kung almost equal ang sizes nila.
Ano po yun again, Doc Sam? If
your paragraph should be of almost equal sizes. Hindi yung masyadong maiksi yung isa, mahaba yung isa.
Okay.
Ano mo lang siya, i-balance mo lang siya na maganda tingnan. Parang sa libro, di ba, tingnan mo.
Aesthetically pleasing.
Aesthetics lang.
Oo.
Yung Cedric, saan pumasok yung iyong conscientiousness na andito na? Conscientiousness.
Okay.
Okay. Yung unforeseen, yung the compelling reasons why there is a need to conduct the study.
Ay, yun yata ang hindi masyadong na-highlight.
Oo.
Kasi saan ngayon ang problematic situation? What is happening with the faculty of with the college teachers in Davao City? Wala kang local scenario.
Include ko siya sa introduction, Doc.
Parang third
Oo.
paragraph yun.
Paragraph 3 dapat nakalagay na yan.
And your own relationship to the problem, parang as a psychology graduate ka, di ba?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, sabihin mo doon, based on your personal knowledge and experience, or as a teacher also, di ba?
Yes.
Teacher ka naman sa college, so meron talagang problema. Kaya naisipan mo to conduct this study.
Should I use
Kaya
the
dapat
pronoun?
Naka-stipulate dyan talaga sa introduction kasi hindi sinasabi. Kasi usually if you look at your discussion on the results, tina-tie up mo kasi ang ibang ito, like let's say ang nila, their ability to manage their ability to do gina-tie up mo doon sa what is happening sa pandemic. So where's the link there? So there has to be a paragraph somewhere in the introduction saying they were expressive of this, gawa nga ng pandemic na ito ang nangyari. So yan ang sinasabi ni Doc Sam, personal experience with this faculty. Meron ba silang sinabi? Meron ka bang napansin?
Yes.
See? Otherwise, wala tayong reason bakit i-link natin ito sa pandemic.
Okay.
Doc Boy, may I add?
Yes, Doc Rachel.
Yun din yung binasa ko pa ulit-ulit sa Kaya ang ginawa ko na lang, siguro mas madali seeds, no? Pero although this is not the ideal thing to do, nandoon na kasi yung statement of the problem. And your statement of the problem, of course, stems from the problematic situation. Tama ba? Kasi hindi mo naman yun itatanong kung hindi mo in the first place nakita na may problema. Now, if we are going to consider the specific problems you've asked in your research, that could help us somehow formulate or balikan kung ano ba yung in the first place, ano ba yung pinoproblema natin. So in my case, paulit-ulit ko binasa yung intro. I was looking baka lang din sabog din ako. Ako yung sabog kaya binaulit-ulit. Pero hearing from Doc Sam, yun din yung hinahanap ko, yung marabag mao ni ang sitwasyon, the reason why mag-study ko aning conscientiousness and well-being. So, yung ganong discussion, hindi ko na nakita, and probably to help you, at yun din na yun, anyway, mamaya pa, doon sa theoretical, theoretical framework, yun din yung hinahanap ko, yung link ng dalawang variables. Yeah. Kasi hindi mo ma-connect din yun doon kasi in the first place hindi mo na-present yung sitwasyon talaga. Sa intro. Kasi kung na-present mo siya sa intro, it would be very easy for you to discuss your theoretical framework as well. Yun, siguro kay naa naman ang kuan. Kadto na lang, imuha na lang siyang tan-awon imuhang specific problem niya. Unsaon nimo siya connect yun nga nung naay problema. Oo.
Okay. Connecting the variable to the present situation and personal experience.
The trigger ba nga nung nagmutana jud ka ato. Kasi ay problema.
Kasi psychological well-being is an issue whether there's a pandemic or not. Issue guna siya.
Yep.
Maybe na-exacerbate lang karon. So kung mauna ang gusto nimo ipakuan, so put that in the introduction. Reference lang to what is really happening. So ano ang mga observations mo at ano mga verbalizations nila.
Doc Apoy, should I use yung mga pronoun na I or researcher? I don't know how to address manggod if personal viewpoint ng researcher. The
Researcher.
researcher had observed or I have observed.
Yeah. Mm.
Wala pa ta nakaabot ang level Cedric, pero when I reviewed papers from Kansas University, first person good sila.
First person.
Oo.
Sa uban
Sige
na.
na, pero at lahi man pala institutional format kasi tayo.
Yeah.
So, it's unique to us. So, sa kanila, first person sila.
Wala
Japan.
man gud siguro rigid rule gyud
Wala
ana.
man.
Pero base sa akong nabasa pag quanti,
Kung
moingon sila
quanti, third person.
quite distant
quali,
daw ang researcher sa quanti because they want to preserve objectivity. So kung quali,
Kung quali ka na.
oo.
Ready for
Pero wala man it's not a crime man siguro.
Wala mo. Kasi mga engineering man ka kung i-review ng paper.
Oo.
Naka-invento man to sila, pero ay man sila og me. Sila ko ito sa Japan.
Wala gyud siya rigid na rule, sir.
Wala. Institutional.
Mm-mm.
So, okay na ito. So, kana lang sa kuha mo, said ha?
Noted
The,
po. Third
the
paragraph.
introduction, yan lang, ayusin lang, i-beef up ng konti. The related literature, I think, is kuan man,
I-arrange lang daw
substantive,
po.
kaya lang, yeah.
According to the variables and indicators.
Yeah.
Para meet siya, Cedric. And look at the paragraphs also yung sinabi kong aesthetics. Almost simple sizes. Maganda siya basahin. Parang makaaya-aya sa mata. So, tingnan mo lang, maayos mo yan. Actually, okay naman pagkagawa. Magaling ka naman discuss.
Mhm.
That's one of your talents kasi.
Okay. Tapos, pagdating mo sa review mo sa synthesis ng related lit, remove the recitations. Hindi na kinakailangan yung mga tao doon.
Oh.
Parang sinusummarize mo na lang kasi.
Ang thoughts or yung conclusions or parang findings nila sa Drake ang i-highlight sa synthesis. Kung ano yung commonalities ng mga studies na nakita mo, na-review. Yun yung
ganito
synthesis. That will strengthen actually your, the gap, no? Yung, ano mo ba? Yung prayer mo ba? Na meron talagang ang psychological well-being sa conscientiousness. And
Doc Poy, tanggalin ko yung mga pangalan. Yun po yung sinasabi niya.
Tanggalin mo na yung mga pangalan dyan.
Like
hindi na kinakailangan yan. Synthesis
Banin.
naman lang. You've referred to them already earlier in the section, so hindi na kailangan yung mga ano nila dyan.
Okay.
Findings lang, Cedric. Yung mga common findings.
Okay.
That will help you establish the gap or strengthen the gap.
Meron na siya, Doc, no?
Bali, parang na siya, it's your own, based on the literature na na-review mo. So, how you make sense of the literature na nakuha mo. And then leading to pointing siya towards the gap. Kasi isa yung purpose ng review to substantiate that there is indeed a need to conduct
may kulang pa
your study because there is a gap.
Yeah. So kasi like did you say that the previous studies reviewed were all done in, sinabi mo ba yung mga types of populations dyan?
There are some sa literature ko po na nagsabi ako preschool teacher, meron din sa other fields.
Dapat naka-highlight yan sa synthesis mo. Kasi gusto nating malaman ngayon. So what studies have already been established, and then why is there a need to do this among college teachers, by the way?
Okay.
Parang magawa, Cedric, ba? Wala pa'y or there's a lack of literature. That's why we want to
make it unique.
Wala lang na sa local, wala.
Rationalize nimo nga nung maestra imong tagaan. Ug nganong kaning duha ka variables imong gi-pair naunsa dai ni sila in relation to sa teacher, makita nimo na siya sa imong Revlit, no? Kung dili nimo na siya makita, probably something is kailangan mo pang balikan sa Revlit.
Kung alin. That's true.
Oo. Although ideally, dapat mauna yun siya, pero since tapos naman siya, balikan mo na lang. Anyway, hindi man din bawal na gano'n. Kung may kulang.
Because most of this, Doc, no, nasa literature ko to. Ito lang yung parang synthesis or yung important findings na hinighlight ko. Kaya ako gumawa ng synthesis na section. Nakita ko rin to sa format ng grad school manual. Ito yung mga findings na nandito na, nakalat na siya sa parts ng lit review ko. So, hinighlight ko lang siya para for emphasis lang din.
Yeah.
Connect ko
Ang
yung
atin
mga...
dyan is para malaman kung saan pa ang kulang. So what have been done so far and what else needs to be investigated. Yan. Sige. So go na tayo dyan. Okay. So, saan na tayo? Theoretical framework. Doc Rage, may ano ka kanina sa theoretical framework?
Paborito ko na theoretical framework.
Ako lang.
Okay, ang theoretical framework mga good seeds, murag din na siya mo ay naghawak sa imuhang study ba?
Study.
It dictates your design, it dictates your analysis, not the data that you're going to gather, and it dictates the interpretation, in fact, of your findings. Oo, so siya yung nagdidikta, kaya very critical siya na portion sa quanti na study, kay rigid man ang quanti, no, we are guided by a framework. So ang first ko na tanong, hindi, or baka hindi ko lang din na-notice, pero yun nga, yung link ng dalawang variable, paano mo na-build na the two variables? No, ano yung relationship ng dalawang variables? You have conscientiousness and psychological well-being. So, nandoon pa rin yung tanong after reading na bakit silang dalawa? Though you have supplemented na meron namang study about conscientiousness, okay na yun siya. Pero naalam siguro yung gamay nga, makaingon ko, okay, mao dyan ihan yung gistadihang duha. Wala to siya na kuan na factor. Like, ang conscientiousness, na-mention ni mo dito na isa siya sa walang kinanglan sa mga teachers, kaya kuan, tapos it can also kasi generate a question na why of all? Ang dami naman ding need yung teacher, why conscientiousness ang na-focus mo of all? So parang ganun ba, parang hindi talaga na ano bang tawag niyan? Wala na simento gid siya ba sa framework? Bakit silang dalawa?
Wala na tuhog.
So kasi when we speak of framework, foundation siya. And we can tap a theory or different studies to build a framework. So in your case, meron ng theory pero hindi pa siya parang na-build. Oo, yun yung ko. Okay. Hindi nabigyan ng kaparang hugis, paano mo siya, kasi ikaw yung parang carpenter, kung saan mo siya pagpanday para magkaroon siya ng shape. So yun yung parang hindi pa masyado na Pero you have the data, you have the literature. I believe na kayang-kaya mo yun, parang hindi lang talaga natumbok yung frame. Nag-follow mo. Oo, pero you have the theory naman. I'm positive na ma-connect mo lahat ng variables.
Okay, may I come in, Doc Boy?
Yes, Doc.
Okay, after all the experts' recommendation said, I would like to summarize na ang justification why you have paired conscientiousness with PWD, missing siya from the intro. It's missing. Trying to establish why of all the many variables, why conscientiousness? Will you try to ground it with the spirituality ng mga Filipino to make it isyan? Try to i-anchor mo siya. na baka ito ang sekreto kung bakit naging positive ang result ng findings mo.
Malay natin.
Malay natin, you can expound more because we're trying to explore the possible reasons why naging positive in spite of the situation. Actually, makarelate ako sa sa findings mo because my dissertation was into psychological hardiness of Filipinos. Hindi lang siya na-publish because immediately I left the country. Diretso na ako sa US. Pero ito yata ang ang Filipinos are very resilient kahit na kung ano yung sitwasyon nila. May psychologically hardy sila. Maybe you can also explore that concept, the psychological hardiness of Filipinos. It can provide further enlightenment why you got a good picture of your participants. Yun lang talaga, maging maganda yung study mo kung right from the start na convince mo kami at saka yung readers mo na sa lahat ng sa Big Five. So lahat ng Big Five, bakit pinili mo yung conscientiousness? Anong mayroon doon?
Mhm.
And so meaning, from the start sa intro pa lang, why? And then in your synthesis, again, address why. Because the synthesis is going to be a justification of your choices of the concepts that you would like to explore. And then it should be emphasized in the theoretical framework because this is the paradigm that guides you towards your discussion. Hindi ka nalilihis sa ibang mga variables. Just focus on the two.
Noted po.
So, okay na?
Okay.
So, noted na yan, said.
Yes
Okay?
po.
So, we move to the conceptual. Walang problema sa conceptual framework. Hindi ba sa conceptual framework, more or less we provide already a very good definition of the variables. Did you mention that here?
Yes.
Because when you talk of autonomy refers to
actually, Doc, minention ko lang siya but I did not define it because it will be too lengthy if I will define everything, all of the 6 factors. I just elaborated lang po. And the dependent variable of the study is conscientiousness, which is represented by the 2 facets. Yun lang po yung ginawa ko. Kasi I think I have read a lot of research, no? Nasa literature review portion naman po yung pag-define ng mga variables talaga. Since...
yeah, but the
Conceptual yun
concept mo, ang konsepto mo is how is this used in your study? Kaya tinatawag na conceptual
Masyado bang mahaba, Sids, kung ilagay?
Hindi naman, ang autonomy, isa lang, may 2 sigurong sentences yan.
Kung taken pa rin siya from the author, okay lang
dali
din
mo
naman
lang.
kung hindi mo change siya. Like, kasi yung iba, pag gamitin nila sa sariling study nila, they will give an operational definition. Pero kung ganun pa rin siya, masyado bang mahaba?
Yes. Wait lang, Doc, ha. Meron kasi akong, perhaps pwede natin ilagay na lang siguro, autonomy refers to being self-determinant and independent.
Yan.
Ano?
Inana.
Very
Gamay na description.
straightforward
at least may idea
definition.
kita. Yes.
And the 6 factors plus yung 2 facets, Doc,
Yeah.
i-define ko siya.
Conscientiousness would refer to ganon.
Okay. And also,
Okay.
i-define ko rin po yung variable ko, yung psychological well-being. Define ko din po siya.
Your psychological well-being now in your conceptual framework is defined through
By-
the indicators, yung 6. sila yung nag-define ng psychological well-being. And then, yung dalawa din, sila din yung nag-define ng conscientiousness. Kasi from there, makita natin na ang well-being pala dito ay according to this 6 indicators.
Okay. So, no need ko na i-define talaga Doc Rachel, no? Yung ito, i-define ko siya by its...
Pwede man din lagyan. Like for example, ng intelligence. Halimbawa, yun yung variable. Intelligence is a capacity to adapt, blah, blah, blah. Ganyan.
And is...
Indicator niya dayon. Indicated by verbal or non-verbal. So yung verbal, non-verbal mo, yun yung equivalent ng autonomy, environment. Then you give a brief description of what psychological well-being. Doon sa study mo. Kasi yung nasa conceptual mo na framework na definitions, ang interpretation yan sa magbasa or reader, this is how you use these terms in your study.
Noted po.
So, okay. Sige. Now we move on. Okay. SOP. Wala may problema, no?
May ako, Doc.
Yes, ma'am.
Sid has identified demographics as yung number 1 mo profile. And I found out na in your discussion, ginamit mo din yun experience, how it's making them more conscientious. And therefore, I think kung pwede masilip sana, ano yung effect? Ano ang effect ng variables mo with regards to the concept? Para madagdagan ang value, ang significance ng study mo that indeed, there is a significant difference in PWB and conscientiousness with regards to sex. May sex differences ba? Age masyado kasi marami kang inano doon. You added sex, age na. Sabi mo mga seasoned na ito. Can you prove? Can you put it into writing that indeed you're sweeping generalization that just because they are already seasoned na naging conscientious sila? This would add to the literature, to the research outcomes.
Yeah.
So that natin. This is your contribution because you're saying mag-theoretically grounding, you are theoretically grounded, and now your contribution towards the further elaboration of the theoretical grounding can be more elaborated by being specific na in your research, you found out that there are differences with regards to conscientiousness, the difference between age and experience. It doesn't follow man na just because seasoned na sila or may age na sila na maging conscientious sila kung minsan nag-deteriorate yan eh. That's why we expect so much wisdom from people who are supposed to be experienced. So, pero in reality, kung minsan ipapasa nila yon ng trabaho sa mga younger ones. So how will you try to translate it as an outcome of your research? So pakiano diyan Rachel, na dapat specify siya na another problem para
unless it should be problematized kasi
wala sa iyang problem
kasi you have two options. You have two options here. Either you remove number 1 and then just put that as description of the participants na lang. Or but if you put that there, wala may gamit na siya unless maingon pa may mga differences.
Ani ang impact sa iya? Pwede mo itong what is the demographic will just describe your sample.
Description na lang.
Tanggalin. Tapos kung ipasok kasi natin yung difference, kasi descriptive lang ito, we cannot conclude that there is really significant difference that unless you will run another statistical procedure,
another
difference. In which case, hindi siya na-problematize, hindi nag-reflect doon yata sa yung review of related lit, hindi din siya nag-reflect doon sa yung introduction na nagtatanong ka kung magkaiba ba yung ano nila yes, with regards to sex, age, na may difference ba in terms of well-being, psychological well-being and conscientiousness. Hindi yun natanong at hindi din yun natakol sa review of related lit.
So, alisin lang.
Remove it na, can he just remove it na lang, Doc Poy?
Yeah, remove it
Yeah,
and put
that's
this
not
as
pwede.
a description of participants.
Para
Put dun sa
dili na
description.
mawala sa
Para hindi tayo
iyang
maano.
framework, ibutang na lang siya, Sid, sa imong additional descriptions sa imong
Of
sample.
Participants.
Oo.
So,
Na inani ang sex nila, inani percentages, kay ma-complete na, mausab to tanan imong framework.
Yeah. Statistical ko ano pud ka?
tanggalin ko po ito, Doc, na question.
Yeah, remove SOP number
Hindi
1.
na yan siya kasali sa problem.
Ano na lang said, add mo na lang siya sa description of participants mo.
Okay.
Sayang na data ba?
Pero kay wala manggoy ko anpod.
Yeah, wala.
Tama si Doc
research
Rachel,
na lang,
descriptive
Doc.
manggod ni.
Descriptive manggod siya.
Oo, sige ta pangitawag differences nga kuan.
Which means wala ka na i-table sa results. Tanggalin.
Yeah, remove.
Tanggalin sa table.
Ano na siya, description na lang talaga siya of participants said.
Okay. So, pati yung paragraph explanation sa results for
Yes.
this, tanggalin na po.
Sa discussion, yes.
Basically, parang ililipat mo na siya doon sa
Ilipat mo.
description of participants.
Ma-focus na yung results mo dito sa 2 and the rest.
Sa
And
participant
discussion.
section na lang po ito, Doc.
Yes.
Yung description niya. Pero yung table, wala na talaga. Okay.
Wala na sa results.
So, okay na siya. Level of, so 1, 2, 3, 4, ilan na lang? 4 na lang ang ano mo.
6 na lang po, Doc.
Questions. SOP.
5. Okay. Predict. Okay, sige. So done. Let's move to method. Anything on the method? Laro ba? That's
Lagay
what
siya
you
ng
need.
reference, Doc Boy, sa
Yeah, I was about to say that. Oh, sige. Sa design. Sino ang reference mo dyan sa descriptive correlational design mo?
Okay, dagang ipagamay, Sid, kay mubo rin.
Oo niya.
Okay.
Mubo na kayo, Sid, yung
Yes.
description sa design.
So, what did you describe and what did you correlate?
Yan.
Maragana.
At
Pero-
sino ang nagsabi?
So, pag cite og kuan yun o authority diha.
Sige, hanap po ako sa Creswell na book.
Yeah.
Creswell. Oh, very good. Si Creswell.
Ito, Doc, sama, may book ako eh.
Ay, nakamanday siya yung libro.
Imprinted ako siya.
Siya libro.
Nandito ang jud ka, Sids.
Yeah, gamit kayo.
Professor niya kasi.
Kami nga siya masyadong librong binili.
Grabe, no? Sige
Sige lang, investment.
Mag-PhD man ka.
Yeah.
Ma-doctor, mandap na dyan ka.
Mag-PhD siya, Doc Poy, then maglipat siya ng San Pedro College.
Wow. Uy, malaki lang ang sweldo. Ma'am Ann, sa kanila.
Magpa-accredit naman na tayo ng ating MSP kaya para
Ay,
maka-open tayo.
mag-1 man ka, no? Psychology.
Psych siya.
Ba't natay...
So, okay. Design, no problem. I-elaborate ng content then sa site and authority there. Study site, walang problema.
Basta no identifiers.
Teka muna, participants, o ano yung setting pala yan, no?
Oh,
Study
study
site,
site
okay.
is setting.
Okay.
Effect setting.
Sino ang nag-participate sa study mo? Colleges and
Yeah.
colleges ang universities o mga tao?
Yeah. College teachers from colleges and
Sige.
universities.
Eskwelahan man
Total
ang
of how
mga-
many from 22 colleges and okay, sige.
Naadari ba to ang sampling, Doc?
Dapat sa participants ang sampling. Asa man yung sampling? Nasa imong sampling?
Wala bitaw. Wala
Ako
sa
na-
Random ka?
Random.
Simple
random
random.
siya.
A simple
Yan,
random.
Dok, naalam ko
Random.
pangutangan na, Dok ba? How
Ano
do we
man?
treat it? Ngayong kasi, we are claiming na it's we're doing it, like we are
Online.
doing a random sampling, but we are sampling and we are administering it online.
Online.
Is it really random?
Murag convenience na gud na.
Murag na friendly basis,
Convenience.
preference basis.
Convenience. Hindi na siya random. Convenience kind.
Tapos Doc Sam, would it violate the assumption sa kasi yung may assumptions yung paggamit ng MRA.
Yun nga. Pero i-justify niya.
So, paano mo i-justify?
Pod.
Ay, sige na lang, mamaya
Sa
na lang.
pandemic.
Mag-study.
Naman din natawag sa sa Ateneo nga open sampling lang siya. Bago nila.
Kasi hindi man din siya, para sa akin, parang hindi din siya parang convenience na sampling. Kasi parang iba din ang nun parang kung sino na lang. Kasi somehow nagsisik din naman talaga sila ng nagkipag-communicate sila ba sa katong desired nila na population of interest.
Pwede siya ka ng
With
pure.
the intention, murag hybrid. With the
Hybrid.
intention na mag-random. Pero, hindi lang talaga nangyayari yung random because of our situation.
Maka-randomize.
Sa'y pangalan na to, Ana. Wala pa siya pangalan noon. Sana siya?
Open, sa Ateneo, open sampling nila ginatawag. Kanang i-send na gani nila sa online.
Open sampling daw seats.
Open sampling. Noted.
Pero mahulog siya gihapon og non-proba.
Non-probability. Iligid siya ka ng simple random na ka ng
May citation ba yan, Doc Sam, sa mga literature?
Wala siya bago ang open.
So,
Wala.
hindi ko siya
Ikuan
ma-define.
lang sa Ateneo karon nga gina-online, padala online. Kung kinsa lang tong first atong mag-respond, niya makompleto na tong number of participants. So, stop na sila.
Kasi by definition man good, ang random equal chance to the population
Equal,
of
pero
interest
kana
sa tanan. Kay di man matagag equal chance live, wala internet. So
correct. Ay, nagabutan ko
depende
na
lang gyud sa
Ateneo
mga answer
kuan doc rage kanang inclusion of exclusion. Ang walay internet dili nila gina-active. Kanang walay mga gadgets o ginabutang
sa limitations na lang po siguro i-indicate mayroon pandemic na to nagibuhat ni mo na yun ani.
I was about to say that para dili ta magkamali. Just try to cite it in the limitation. The intention was what? And then the actual happening was anong nangyari. Describe na lang.
So ilagay mo yan kasi Cedric, wala kang limitations.
So meron
Sa discussion mo, wala kang limitations.
sa last part of the
Missing
discussion said
Wait lang po.
After the limitations of the study. So, okay. So, wala tayo sa conceptual. Okay. No more sa methodology. Participants, measures, sa procedures, mga lised. Saan yung ethical consideration? So, scroll down mo, page 31.
Ito po. Data collection pala to. Ethical considerations here.
Okay. Sige, page 31 ba yan?
Yes
Ano
po.
yung extent of the study?
Extent of the study, ito po yung
Scope?
yes.
Hindi
Conducted
extend.
to at least 7 private schools in Davao City. The duration of the procedure.
Cedric, ang format natin, para siyang sa significance. I-indent mo siya, tapos, for example, and extent of the study period, tapos, mo na siya. Hindi siya i-subheading sa iba. Itaas. Hindi siya
So wala na
ganyan.
yung use. Extend or scope na lang siguro.
Scope siguro.
Kasi gamit na to, Doc Sam. Hindi ko familiar sa atong format.
Itapad siya sa murag sa significance. Itong, for example, scope of the study, naka-indent gihapon, pero appeal siya sa paragraph. Period ang ibutang. Tapos, na siya.
The part siya sa paragraph.
Part siya. First, yun siya. Scope of the study, period.
Ibaba mo siya.
Dili siya i-subheading. Mo na format na.
Tapad nimo ang the author.
Itapad.
Yes.
Right after the period.
Yes,
Scope
yes.
of study.
Ingani na ba?
Yeah, indent niya ang scope.
Indent ang scope.
Di mo sulod? Ana siya itsura.
Okay.
Not necessarily nakakuan set, pero okay naman naka-italic kay para
Pati ang privacy.
kana siya ang confidentiality.
Yeah.
Confidentiality, mag-uba na silang duha. Tapos minimization of risk na wala.
Risks and benefits. We mean here, Cedric, we mean ang benefits and risks sa participants mismo.
Yes.
Sa kaila ba?
Yes po. Sa mga participants po ni nakafocus.
Yes. Tapos, alisin mo na yung last two sentences, B. The study allowed the researcher to, para wala naman ay labot ya.
Okay.
Tapos saan pa? Meron ka pang pangalan mo dyan sa page 32. Pakialis. The researcher.
Ayaw, butay pangalan.
Sana yun? Page 32. Researcher.
The research. Ito is planned, also planned. Okay na siya.
Hindi. May pangalan ka yun. The research. Before that.
Name ko po?
Yes, meron.
Hindi po ako nag-state talaga ng pangalan or ng
bakit
grad school.
Doon sa akin meron? Sige nga, anong page yan? Anong page yan?
Page
32 yan?
32 po.
Okay. Bakit nun meron? The researcher is Mr. Cedric Joseph Mandap. Sige ha?
Wala.
Okay.
Okay po.
Wala dyan.
Tanggalin ko na lang, Doc. Pero ako makita na pangalan. Ay, ito. This one.
Ayan.
Ay, sabi ko na
31.
Yan, authorship.
Page 31.
Yeah.
Researcher lang.
Is a bona fide graduate school student. Ganun na lang po.
Yes. Okay. So go.
Data
All right.
analysis.
So data analysis yan, Doc Sam, o analysis lang?
Analysis lang po.
Okay.
Pati yung procedure niya. Procedure lang yan, Rick, hindi data collection procedure.
Procedure lang, okay po. Hindi siya data
Sa
collection.
new format kasi yung data collection.
Doc Poy, should I include yung limitation of the study?
In
Yung
the
sabi mo
discussion
kanina.
later. Yes, you should, that's important.
Okay.
Last paragraph
Yeah.
sa discussion.
Importante yon. Kaya there were things that you wanted to do but which you were not able to accomplish because of certain mga unforeseen na mga ano. So dapat nakalagay yan.
Okay po.
Sige.
Thank you.
Analysis. Okay, results. Sige. I think wala I don't know, sa results mo lang wala may kuan kay results mo lang ang hinapakita. So okay ra po.
Wala na tong table do. Table 1.
Yan, remove that.
Yellow na Cedric. Yellow na siya.
Another thing, some comments lang sa results, Doc. The tables should be closer to the discussion, to the presentation, hindi malayo. And you're not supposed to break the tables. If you cannot present it in one page, hindi dapat siya i-break.
Saka page.
Isang page lang. So you make the adjustment on what would follow just to utilize this space. And another thing is result is purely result. You do not cite the implications yet.
Yes.
No
The
discussions.
discussion na
Wala
lang.
pang discussion, raw data. Present it the way it is. Kasi you save all your interpretations and discussion in the next chapter.
Yes.
Parang Drake, you're just describing the results, the table. Ano yung laman ng table. Yun lang. But reserve the discussion to chapter 4.
Yes.
Dito siya.
Doc Rich, ito pong these are the descriptive frequencies. Ilipat ko po to sa may participant section. Yung sabi,
Ano na lang, yung very simple na lang na ano, kasi ito may like you have already participants, yan.
Ano yung mga
Percentage,
percentage?
percentages na lang. Oo.
okay. So, pwede naman siguro kung sex, ay sige po. So, tanggalin ko na lang talaga yung, okay, this one. Kasi yung,
Ilipat mo na lang yan doon.
oo,
Tapos,
sige po.
wala naman siguro masyadong ito discussion. Nakahiwalay man yung discussion.
Wala.
Describe
I
lang
think-
po to.
Tapos wala na siyang table.
Oo, tanggalin na to. Remove na talaga siya.
So I think the results, wala tayong problema. Meron ko nakikita. Kasi I want to focus more on the discussion.
Sa results, sa pag-perform sa regression seeds,
Okay. Table.
alam ko Canada how did you, yung sa interpretation ba, ano yung basis mo of coming up? Yun daw, taas mo daw. Para hindi na lang ako dito.
This
Yan.
one.
Yeah.
Okay. Meron man akong interpretation. You may see it on page sa scoring system at saka yung interpretation. Meron yun sa
Ayan,
part
nasa
ng measures ko na part.
The measure.
Yeah, nasa part yun ng measures ko. Doon ko siya binase. Paano ko i-interpret yung data dito sa table na to. Lang po, hanapin ko muna na page 40 ata. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we saw it in the measures.
Yeah, there is an interpretation table there which consists of this interpretation, yung meaning niya, ganun. So, dun ko siya binase.
Yeah.
Wala akong ginawa-gawa or change or something. I just base it there. Sa literature.
Okay, so given yan siya sa
Doon sa
Yes,
kanyang measure, sa instrument,
Yes,
given yan.
My interpretation.
kasi yung iba kasi ay lower or higher lang yung interpretation.
Hindi.
Scale man siya dito.
So wala tayong problema
yung
dyan.
ibang sa literature ba na nakita ko, yung interpretation na hindi ganyan. Lower or higher, ganun lang, dalawa lang.
Okay. Pero merong particular website, Doc Rich, na nakita ko sa internet, yung scale. Kasi yung yung Riff scale kasi, very sikat kasi siya. So, meron na talagang literature akong nakita na yun yung ginamit ko.
So may
Scale.
certain author ito, sinong come up ng ganitong interpretation? Kasi iba-iba yung nakita ko.
Yes po. Siguro yung part na siguro yun yung general lang siya na interpretation, like if lower yung psychological well-being, then ito yung magiging outcome sa person. Ano lang siguro yung nabasa nyo po? General.
Okay. So no problem naman. Basta
Pero nilagay mo yun doon, said, gi-acknowledge mo ang source
Yes, of
kung
course.
saan mo kinuha. Okay.
Yes po.
No problem. So, okay, I think wala naman tayong problema sa no?
sa MRA,
Anong
sa
table yan?
multiple,
Table.
I'm sorry.
Yan. Yan, multiple regression.
Multiple regression. Ay, naalala ko
Bakit nakakahon-kahon?
i-highlight niya ang significant doc.
Ayaw.
Para sure.
Ang galon.
Nakakahon daw seeds. Siguro
Nakakahon-kahon.
Tanggal ang kahon.
Okay. So, let it be na lang. Hindi ko na
Oo, naman
i-highlight.
talaga. Oo, meron
Balik
naman ano dyan
kahon.
let the asterisk
Okay.
convey the meaning. Seeds. Ikaw nag-run sa
Hindi po, nagpatulong po
MRA.
ako.
But you
Nagpatulong po ako.
discussed, pero may idea ka how it was done.
Yes, Doc Rich.
Naalam
lang
ko
po. I
ikaw
was
may,
there.
naalam ko ipangutana kasi namagod siya impact sa result. naamang good ay gina-follow na, I mean, stricto ang assumptions, no, and restrictions sa MRA. Naa kay data na normal ang imong distribution, na-run siya.
Na, what do you mean po? Normal ang distribution sa data?
Yeah.
Yes
Kasi
po.
that's the first requirement.
Yes po.
And
Actually,
that would somehow resolve also the issue kung hindi na randomize.
Smirnoff Kolmogorov ba yan? Sinasabi mo, Dr. H? Smirnoff Kolmogorov.
Oo, depende sa number of
Yeah.
sample.
I-append mo na lang.
Okay.
Kolmogorov is
Smirnoff, marag drink sa Russia.
Ana sila.
Smirnoff Kolmogorov.
Oo.
Wala siya, katong gina pa mo tayo, Dr. Rachel. I-present to, i-append to siya para
Append,
makita. Normal ang distribution.
Kolmogorov, Smirnoff.
Yeah.
Shapiro Milk.
Ayan, Shapiro Wilkes of Kolmogorov Smirnoff.
Kasi that's the first consideration why you're going to proceed with MRA.
Okay. This will
normal siya. Normally distributed.
Otherwise, that's true.
This will validate that normal yung distribution ng data ko.
And that would also help you kadtong justify, like hindi ka man naka-random, pag normally distributed, matulungan yung hindi ka naka-random. Talaga hindi ano yun? Non-proba yung naging sampling kasi because of the pandemic. Kasi ang purpose naman tayo, why nagra-random tayo is to ensure that meron tayong normally distributed na data. Okay, now gitest mo siya, that could help, no, whether you will proceed or not with MRA.
Dr. H, ipa-append na lang tong
append yun.
Shapiro Wilkes of Smirnoff Kolmogorov.
Kolmogorov, Smirnoff, Shapiro
Wilkes.
Pwede niyo po i-type para ma-search ko later.
Ako ang ibutang sa chat.
Si Doc Sam na
lang. Ikaw niya na lang sa unsa. Ikaw mo sa chat box.
Yung mga spellings.
Sa chat box.
Marag drink na siya sa Russia.
Sige.
Mo na dili tagarahan mo tanaw na kay laig spelling. Tapos you have you decided man no na to use the different variables independently, like you have 6 predictor variables.
Yes.
Or 1, 2, 3, 6 man yun, no? Factors.
Yes, 6.
And use them independently to predict the outcome variable consensuousness. Tama ba?
Independently po.
Tapos, before you will proceed, you have to test the multicollinearity kasi dapat hindi sila highly correlated ang variables or predictor variables. Sulat mo lang dyan, tanungin mo yung statistician mo kung na-test ba yung multicollinearity. Na-meet ba yung assumption na yon.
Okay po.
Kasi ang impact nun, pag highly correlated yung mga variables mo na ginamit as predictors, yung 0.48 na R-squared mo, ay bababa pa yan. Because ang ibig sabihin lang nun, pabalik-balik yung predictor variables mo ng mini-measure or yung contribution niya doon. The variance na contribute that your independent variables contributed to the outcome variables. Now, kung highly correlated sila, so violate yung assumption ng multicollinearity, mamislead tayo sa ating interpretation like it's 0.48 and that is quite high. That means almost 50% yung contribution ng well-being doon sa conscientiousness. Pero kung may sila, very highly correlated yung predictor variables mo, I think hindi dapat gamitin mo sila na predictors sa outcome variables.
Doc Rach, may certain test ba yan, Doc Rach, to measure the multicollinearity?
Yeah, it's just correlation. Like you are correlating. Lalabas yan siya sa SPSS, nandun na yun. It's just a matter of clicking the right button.
So, ano po yung value na kailangan or yung requirement?
It must not be too high. It's low to mid.
Okay. And that should appear here, no?
Oo.
Nakalagay yan dyan.
Yung ibang author, okay lang sa kanila yung moderate, no? Pero never talaga nag-high siya. Kay ang ibig sabihin yan, gabalik-balik ra kag test, pareho ra siya og function ang imuhang variables. Tapos, ano pa ba yun? I think yun yung critical sa multiple regression. Oo. I-ask mo yung statistician mo and then same no sa second ano mo din. Yung I think the last question SOP mo.
Second to the last, Doc, kasi may enhancement program pa kasi ako sa last.
Sige. Third and second, fourth. Ang fifth is the program.
Yes.
Sige.
Doc Rich, just to be clear, no, I have to measure the multi-collinearity. Kailangan kasi, Doc, yung goal is hindi masyadong related or correlated yung variable ko na gusto kong i-regress for multiple regression. Yun po
the predictor variables.
The predictor variables must not be
highly correlated. Must not be highly correlated.
Alam na yan ng statistician.
Ipa-append ang result dito sa appendix.
Kasi kung mataas na daan, kailangan ay solve pa. Obvious na.
Obvious naman.
Marag, kung sa layman's pa na kuan, marag nganong
gibalik
mo gamit na siya na
mata obvious naman. Okay.
Obvious na tayo sa mag-uyab. Test naman.
So okay. Now I would like to move to the discussion. I think this is where probably we should focus more. You have to beef up your discussion, Sed. Kasi yung halimbawa
hi man yung results. So
nga
naman na siya hi.
ang let's say number 1 mo, very high sa personal personal growth. Tapos moderate lang sila sa purpose in life. Bakit kaya? Is this similar to previous studies you have reviewed? Ganito ba ang labas ng ibang study na natanuhan mo? Kung hindi, bakit kaya ang study mo iba? Kasi dito tayo maghahanap ngayon, ano ang unique kayong contribution ng study mo? Ano ba ang nariyan sa study mo na wala doon sa iba? So yung mga, kung saan nagdi-differ, yun ang dapat i-highlight mo talaga. Kasi doon tayo maghahanap kung bakit kaya ito? Is it the kind of the teachers that we have? O hindi natin alam. Baka sa lugar o baka sa ano. Okay? So bakit kaya bakit moderate lang ang purpose in life nila?
Okay. Similarities. I should look for similarities and differences.
Okay. But you have to have literature to support that. Okay. Kasi ganito ang nangyayari. So ini-expect natin. So ang sabi ng literature, is this something na ito ba ang ini-expect natin? Is this something out of the ordinary? Bakit basig ato lang teacher sa Davao City ang lahi og kuan ba? Og lahi og unsa ni og profile. Kay taas ko sila tanan. Nya pag-abot sa purpose and life, moderate lang.
Despite the pandemic, yan naman na taas ang kayo. Yung sinabi ni Doc kanina, pwede papasok din dyan.
Yeah.
Is it because of the spirituality of the Filipinos? Na resilient ka ito because of we're in the kanaganing typhoon, earthquake, disaster prone kayo.
Yeah.
Ang pandemic sa ato wala na lang.
Murag kuha na good lang.
Ordinary ito lang.
Daw sa wala lang.
Well, agi na pero sa Thailand, dagang kahit suicide. Kaya
Lagi?
sila. They've been into a convenient life. Kalit na nawala ang tourism. Kaya nawala ang turista, nawala ang kwarta. Mag-suicide din sila.
Ibang kaayo sa Facebook ang Pinoy.
Grabe ka, busy.
So,
Marunong
tingnan mo,
mag-
Sed, ha? Yung mga significant mo na mga findings sa tables mo, yung lumabas, yun ang i-pick up mo sa discussion.
Yes, yun po ginawa ko.
Like halimbawa, bakit ano lang? Why is it nga environmental mastery lang ang makapredict ng orderliness?
Hanapan ko ng citation or
Yes.
reason.
Yan ang gusto nating malaman. Kaya these are the things na hindi natin nakikita sa ibang literature. Hindi ko alam. O baka naman sabi ng literature, oo, ito. So kung oo ito, sabihin mo lang, well, the findings confirm the study of ek. By the way, said, ayusin mo ang pagkaano ng mga citations mo gani. The previous studies cannot support your study. Okay? Your findings will either support or disconfirm previous studies. Baliktarin mo, ha? Hindi mo sabihin na sinusupport ni ano ang findings mo. Kundi ang findings mo, sinusupport yung findings. Sino ba yung mga sinasabi mong mga ano dyan? Sino yung mga, marami kang ganyan eh. Page 47, pages 48, 46, okay? I-ano mo lang, i-restate mo lang. See?
Okay. Dapat yung studies or yung literature should support my studies. Yun po ba yung...
Your present study supports existing literature.
Baliktad.
Opposite.
Pwede ba hindi support, marag corroborate,
or
agree,
confirms.
agree or concur.
Reinforce kung dili jud totally na reinforce ang ano.
Or sukwahi sa kuan. So contrary to, murag ana.
Very contrary.
Yes. See?
Present studies can support yung literature. Tama, Doc, no?
Yeah. Literature ni ano. So basta hanapin mo yung mga ano ha, yung mga telling na mga ano diyan.
Seeds.
Yes.
Pwede mo patin ko kadali Doc.
Sige.
There is a discussions, di ba naglisod ka gamay kung saon siya. It's because sa imong review of related lit, wala gid mao na to katong atong naistoryahan ka ganina. So mao tong naglisod po ka sa imong theoretical framework o tapos marabag naana kay na sa imong mind pero wala didto sa imong related lit, wala po didto sa imong framework. Mao ni maglisod na karon og discuss kay kuan. So ang mahitabuan ni balikan nimo imuhang RRL, imuha siyang i-enhance na kuan jud siya, naka-focus siya sa imuhang problem.
Okay.
Kay tanawa ini-discuss nimo ron diri, maglisod kag balik dito sa imuhang RRL. Kay kulang siya.
Hindi na magkuan.
Ang buhaton niya mag-add.
Mag-add siya, Dok.
Yes.
Tapos tanggalon to niyang walay silbi dadto.
Itong walay
labot sa
pulos.
problem.
Katong walay pulos nga walay labot sa kuan, remove na lang from the kuan related lit.
Maki pulos.
Okay. Anything else on the ano? So, ang discussion mo ngayon, hindi namin nakikita ang implications ng ano mo. Di ba dapat sa discussion nandyan ngayon? So, anong implications ng findings mo? Kasi marami kang doon sa proposal mo, sabi mo, kahit na dyan, sabihin mo, marami magbe-benefit dito. Mga HR, mga kuan. So, saan doon ang significant sa mga findings mo na makakatulong sa kanila? Alin doon? So, kinakailangan ano mo yan sa discussion?
Okay po.
Kasi that will also strengthen your recommendations. Kasi ang sa recommendations, hindi ko makita kung bakit nag-recommend ka ng mga program for HRs na wala naman sa study.
Okay po.
O kaya mag-recommend ka ng tawag dito mag-recommend ka ng mga exercises ng mga ng mga faculty, mga na wala naman sa finding.
Dapat ko siya i-state sa discussion para mag-reflect sa recommendations.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
And down
Sige.
to your program.
And then the program. I am intrigued. Ano man ang i-enhance mo, Sid? Purpose, meaning in life naman ang moderate.
Actually, yung program po, ginawa ko siya, of course, focus siya sa 6 factors of psychological well-being. And yung findings ko po kasi, Doc, is it sees that yung strongest predictors ng conscientiousness is self-acceptance and environmental mastery. So, I partnered it with yung special coaching sessions ko along with, if makita nyo po yung program ko, yung matrix po, no? Every factor po, may timeline sila. So, first week, no, nakafocus siya sa psychological well-being. Then, the following week naman, self-acceptance, no, up until the 12th week. And may mga activities akong pinartner along with the, yung goal ko, no, meron din siyang rationality tsaka yung expected outcomes. Pinartner ko siya para mas maging holistic, no? And self-care din kasi, I view it as also important, no, towards our mental health, no? It is kailangan kasi mag-go together sila, yung well-being at saka yung self-care, just to avoid mental health problems.
Walang problema dyan, Sid. Walang problema dyan. But trouble is, it's not in the SOP. It's not covered in the findings. It's not in the ano. So saan manggagaling itong mga recommendations mo na yan?
Yung recommendations. Okay,
Kung
akala ko sa...
ang program ba, bakit i-anchor natin doon sa ano? Nga ko ang ilang kuan, ang results nila are very, very positive. So asa ni intended kaning imong program o ng first question? Ikaduha, are you in a position to influence the implementation of this? Remember, these people come from different schools. Ano man ang ating K na pumunta ngayon sa administration o kaya sa kanilang mga HRs? Saan tayo papasok ngayon?
Is it for the program, Doc Poy, no?
Yeah.
Pinapertain nyo sa program. I just wanted to be honest with you, Doc. Yung research ko kasi, Doc, to be honest, hindi pinapansin. I asked seek and I just seek for help for my school. Hindi naman pinansin yung research ko. I just hope and meron lang po akong vision na someday if I will have my personal dissertation, baka magawa ko tong program na to. So perhaps if ready na yung world or yung schools on this program, if they can see the worth, I would propose this to the, sa HR or sa admin offices. And perhaps, if mabigyan ako ng chance and opportunity, may mga proper leverage and may mga kailangang i-change din and modifications. This is not yet yung pinaka-final. This is still a proposed pa kasi, Doc, no? Hindi pa talaga siya yung final talaga.
Doc Poy, kung, di ba, ang kanyang sa SOP is based on the findings. Niya, okay man ang findings. Wala
Yun na nga.
Ayun, wala na lang chapter 5.
We will not make a program anymore because the findings are
to
good.
make life easier. Hindi, positive ang galang findings and result.
Okay.
So, dili na siya kinahanglan. Kay, na-explain lang niya dito sa discussion na ano ka-resilient ang mga Pilipino. Pila ka pandemic ang moabot, kaya gihapon kay ang spirituality sa Pilipino, in ani.
May tanong lang
Sa
ako,
implications.
ano yung, kasi hindi, ang pinaka, kasi na kanyang study is the prediction. Right, Sids? Prediction.
Isa po siya sa
One
mga,
to
one of the kasi yung relationship, Doc Rach, diba? Hinahanap ko if may relationship ba yung silang dalawa. Siguro to answer you, Doc Sam, I created this program to continue, no, yung psychological well-being. Kasi we cannot be complacent siguro. We can always try to improve as well, enhance, no, our current state. Baka yung high, pwede pa siyang maging very high. Kaya
Pero
kumuha.
sino ang tama si Doc Boy, kung are you in the position to go to the HR? Siguro in general pwede, pero
Sed, gamitin mo na lang yun for PhD mo. Si Ma'am Leia, di
reserve,
ba, ang kanya
reserve.
intervention program man
Okay.
siya.
Kay Ma'am
Gamitin mo
Leia.
na lang sa PhD mo, na yan na yung iyong gamitin, na i-apply mo siya.
Yun.
Para make your study,
Test natin.
sincere. Oo.
Parang ang ano dito is we do intervention because there is a gap.
Oo.
Okay.
Yeah.
So based sa medyo hindi ako masyadong based doon sa result kasi why go to the extent of predicting? What's the use of that?
Wala na
Do you
prediction.
plan to intend really to yeah.
Wala na prediction. Kay,
Oo nga, pero if you talk about that, orderliness and conscientiousness are still high. Wala may problema.
But you say problema.
Yes, Dok, walay problema ko sa ilahang score. Ang akong gitanaw na issue is nganong kailangan nimo balik gyapon ka sa imong problem, nganong kailangan nimo mag-predict? Unsa dito imong gusto mahitabo? Nganong there is a need to predict?
Parang which among the variables, the indicators?
Yes.
To predict?
Because na-establish man siya, Doc, di ba, na may relationship yung dalawa. And it can also, psychological well-being can predict and influence conscientiousness. So with that result, no, we can say that if we can enhance, if we can significantly improve, if we can improve psychological well-being and its strongest factors, we can also improve conscientiousness. That is the goal, yung major.
But not all, tignan mo balik yung results mo. Hindi lahat ay predictors.
So, dalawa, tatlo, apat lang.
Yes po. Yeah, may apat sa
Maganda.
industriousness,
Yes.
sa orderliness naman isa lang. But if I try to regress it as a single variable, yung conscientiousness, dalawa po yung lumalabas. Pero yun po, just to focus more into those factors, if we can improve that, kaya ako gumamit ng prediction, ng regression, just to know, no? If this variable increases, then I could increase or mag-increase din yung diligence ng teachers. Kaya ako gumamit ng ganung statistical tool. Just to verify din po as well.
Yeah, pero tignan mo balik yung result, hindi lahat nga sila predictors.
Yes, Doc.
So what's the implication of that?
Okay po. Hindi po lahat predictors, so bakit yung ibang factor hindi sila naging predictor?
Okay, ako I'm not interested kung may program ka. Ako personally kasi alam ko naman hindi mararan talaga. Parang ano lang siya parang
for compliance.
Huwag naman. Kasi mahirap din ko anong program.
Hirap
ano
talaga.
lang siya. Lalo pat pipilitin mo na wala namang gap. Yun, mahirap yun. Ang sa akin, ibalik mo nga yung results. Di ba? Meron ka lang,
Yung MRA?
Oo.
Table 7.
Table 7. Okay.
Ilan ba yung predictors mo dyan?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
This one, Doc.
Diba hindi sila lahat predictors?
Hindi.
Yes po.
Right.
Personal growth.
Environmental lang yung predictor.
Yeah.
Yung sa kabila,
4 sa kabila, sa
apat lang
orderliness.
Okay.
Yan.
So in effect, murag ang giingon diri ang environmental mas diri ra jud makapredict sa conscientiousness ang sa duha, no, kuan sa conscientiousness, the rest tag isa-isa na lang sila. Pero tingnan mo, 'di ba? 4 lang yung maka-predict. So tapos isasabihin na gagawa ka ng program. That's why ito kasi yung first na intention na declare sa study mo. 'Di ba? The reason why gusto mong i-predict because you plan to increase the conscientiousness. Now, how could you do that kung 4 lang yung nagre-register na makapredict.
Kasi
What will
Doc,
happen to the, yeah,
I tried to regress it kasi Doc, yung psychological well-being sa table 5 ko. As what you can see, if psychological well-being is regressed, ito po ha, there is a significant relationship. Yung general psychological well-being, not the factors. So in my hypothesis 2, no, so this is rejected.
Yeah.
There is
pero so what's the purpose nga of analyzing each? You have the data, pinakita na niya na meron, pero meron hindi. Now, if you lump them together, you could have that result. Now, if you analyze it independently, you have a different result. So we just cannot reject the results and go back to your SOP number 2 or hypothesis 2 just because hindi nag-register or hindi agad hindi predictors lahat.
So, Doc Rach, correct me if I'm wrong. This is how I understand it. Basically, you would like Cedric to find additional RRL that can support or can explain why environmental mastery lang yung yung mga factors lang na sinabi mo nga na bakit ito lang siya yung yung matataas, 'di ba? To support that kung bakit yun lang sila and why not the others, parang something ganon para ma-explain, parang additional sa interpretation niya of the results.
Partly Doc, pero paano ba yun? Paano ba siya? Kasi when you predict, establish mo, kasi siya parang, to make the long story short, para saan na nag-predict ka nga? At saka, sabi kanina mataas yung correlation, pero hindi naman, di ba, sa prediction. Tignan mo, 0.39 lang yung contribution overall ng psychological well-being. Tapos individually, hindi din siya ganun kataas. Oo. So, what would prod you to pursue pa ba further na magkaroon ka ng program kung hindi naman, and the rest hindi makapredict, kung hindi din siya makapredict, so what's the use?
Okay po.
Remove
Noted
the
po, Doc.
program na talaga.
I will just, na lang po.
The program kasi it's not needed anymore.
Yes po.
Remove the program.
Yeah, it's not needed anymore, but it's not because it's high, but it's because it's not that predictive.
Okay.
That's my point.
I see.
Okay.
Oo.
Actually, Cedric can help explain it kasi majority of these participants are seasoned teachers. Kaya yung environmental mastery actually will yield that result, no? Siya predictor because yung mga seasoned teachers, they've been teaching for so long, no? Tila nagagaya.
Wala lang siguro murag ang dagat sa imong discussion, murag na lang siya mag-ingon ka dito na dili na siya, daghang factors that could contribute to conscientiousness at hindi lang yung well-being. Kasi makita doon na hindi naman siya masyadong mataas. So, increasing, you keep giving this kind of enhancement, you can only expect this much to improve because there are other factors that could also, siguro part ng recommendation mo ay meron siyang na-contribute but you would still recommend na hahanapin pa yung ibang variables that could also increase conscientiousness. Tama ba, Doc?
Isa yan, that's true.
Increase niya yung population. Other settings siguro.
Or baka sa ibang population mag-matter, maging iba din yung result.
Definitely, yeah.
Inaisip lang ng good na ako ba ang weight niya ba nga or else nakatiwangwang siya nga marag humanadal na, di ba? Hanging siya, diba?
Malagi po.
Pero kung ano lang niya, i-support sa discussion naman.
Yeah, that has to be explained in the discussion.
Oo. So, pwede siyang mag-contribute or makagawa ng program out of your result pero hindi din siya enough. Okay. And lastly, talakayin bakit kailangan i-increase yung conscientiousness.
Lalim naman ng talakayin.
Talakayin.
Abot dodok, how do you mag-Bisaya o mag-Tagalog?
Sa UP, Tagalog na sila.
Oo, mga readings nila Tagalog.
Oh, yes.
Pag nosebleed ko.
So, just based...
Pagtatasa, analyze, pagtatasa. Ay, hindi analyze na rin.
So, okay na yun, Seth. So,
yeah.
everything has to be, dito malang ituhog-tuhog sa discussion. Kasi
Yes
part
po.
na yan ng limitations na, part of the limitations of the study. Ito ang lumabas. Therefore, you can recommend that future studies maybe can focus on other factors na
It's not making it hard for you, Sid, ha? Ginagawa lang natin parang maganda yung
Yes,
Yeah.
Doc.
at saka may bigat yung study mo, at saka parang consistent siya all throughout from intro, blah 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 hanggang sa
Yeah.
recommendations. Oo, okay lang na wala ka ng
intervention.
program or intervention. Doon sa discussion mo, I would also suggest na you find sa literature kung what other factors could increase conscientiousness. That could be also the reason why bakit hindi talaga masyadong mataas yung predictive niya. Oo.
I will include that on this part, Doc Rach, yung...
Sa discussion, ibalikan mo din yung literature mo kung ano ba yung nagpapa-increase ng conscientiousness. So,
okay.
nag-take shape na siya,
Pwede mo yung Yeah.
Heading na lang
ang
po.
study mo.
Okay.
Oo.
So at least maganda pati ang recommendations mo na wala dito dahil may nakita kang kulang dito kaya ito ang yung i-recommend mo for further studies.
For further studies, ito yung nakita mo sa ibang that could increase conscientiousness.
Yes.
Outside psychological well-being.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So yan, very researcher or scientist.
Kuha na gito siya. So at least nakita nila nga, likal-kal gid ka og literature.
Hindi mo parang kiniklaim na well-being lang talaga. Kasi marami talaga factors.
True.
Yeah. I see the point po.
And besides, conscientiousness ay biologically based according to Costa and McRae.
Yeah.
So part
Hindi na to na mabag.
So do not discount that fact kasi yun yung nasa theory. And we can only do siguro this much of increasing it, but we cannot totally really address the entire issue of low or high conscientiousness because of theoretically, siya may biology.
So okay na tayo doon ha? So ang summary conclusion mo at the recommendation dun sa may yan? Later part na yan ha?
Yes po.
And then remove chapter 5 na.
Kasi matatanggal na yung program. I will not include it anymore po.
Yeah.
But do not totally delete that. Keep that in your
That
file.
program.
Magamit mo din yan.
4080.
Ipamana ko na lang sa iba.
Oh,
Gago mo na.
You might be needing that in the future. You just don't know.
Okay lang po. Ma'am, Doc Poy, yung limitation of the study po, isisingit ko siya on the last part of my discussion. Am I right?
Yeah, towards the end, yes.
I will just, parang i-ano ko lang yung scope and kung ano pa yung pwede, yung future research can still, ganito, ganyan. Okay.
So ano nakita mong limitations?
Ana siya said, however, the study has some limitations. Tapos i-state mo na kung ano yung mga na-encounter mo na limitations because of this pandemic na hindi siya purely talaga na random something because hindi rin siya purely convenient kasi nga we shifted to online platform.
Yeah.
I-explain mo lang siya na ganun. Hindi na siya pure based on the books.
Not pure random something.
So okay na tayo. So ang summary mo ayusin mo ha.
Yes po, it should go with
Doc Poy.
Po. Yes, go.
Okay. Nawala ako kay nag-low battery ang akong iPad. There's one thing that I would like to request kung ano ang ibig sabihin ni Sid. Yung nasa discussion under conscientiousness where he stated na why is the result on conscientiousness being considered coincidental? Very
yeah.
word.
Oo nga, meron sa dito.
You have to defend that. What's your basis?
Yeah, it was actually, I actually found a research from that, yung sabi ni, hanapin ko muna, Doc, it was noted by a person, nag-start. Coincidental siya, Doc, because for the reason na yung quite identical yung nature or yung characteristic ng dalawang yon, yung facets na yon. Kaya yung naging score nila, Doc, is very near to each other. So, malapit
This
yung nature nilang
coincidental.
dalawa.
Okay.
Saan siya coincidental, Sid? Sa anong variable?
Yun po, yung
Conscientiousness.
industriousness at saka orderliness, yung facets na yun, magkalapit sila ng nature. Medyo similar sila. Kaya nagkaroon ako ng citation na gano'n na coincidental yung results nila. Parang it
Pero
has
hindi
an
yun siya
explanation.
product ng study mo.
Hindi
Product
po.
Hindi.
ng literature.
Parang
Hindi.
naging, ano na siya, Doc, naging proliferation na siya ng isang citation coming from a person. Basta B nag-start dun. Kaya
I
ba yun?
believe the meaning of that is that highly correlated itong dalawa. And it's not surprising because underline sila sa consensuousness.
Yes.
Yung
Yes,
dalawang
correct na.
variables. Okay. Kaya nga, I'm quite, ito lang yung very critical sa akin, Seeds, kasi it will change your findings, everything. Pag hindi na-follow or hindi na-meet yung assumptions ng MRA, that would totally change your result. Oo,
Yes.
kasi yun assumption talaga yun, kailangan mo ma-meet yung hindi dapat sila magka. And then I've read kasi literatures na highly correlated yung factors ng well-being, yung 6, and I think 4 of the 6 are
Yeah.
highly correlated. So hopefully hindi sa sa study mo.
Okay po. But they have difference po when it comes to their definition, yung nature din po nila. Like work productivity, yung sa industriousness, but sa orderliness, it refers towards being orderly, no? Organized, and yung tidy sa work. So meron pa rin silang difference, even though, yun nga, they are referred to
But
facets.
it's going to be the statistical output that would tell us whether they are highly correlated or not. Although sa tingin natin they are not, or they may be, or they are, but it's the figure that would really matter. Kasi doon tayo nakadepende sa ating interpretation. But it's not really totally na mawala jud imuhang kuan. The effect probably is just that, and you can discuss this with your statistician, na probably yung buong yung buong score na lang ng well-being and buong score ng conscientiousness ang magiging study mo, hindi na yung individual or independent yung dalawa. Kasi you treat this as independent kasi tapos hindi naman pala. So okay lang yung isa na lang sila. Yung isa na lang, yung total score ba, Seeds, mas lumiit yung ang kanilang R-squared. Diba?
That could mean magbabago ang discussion niya.
Magbabago
A bit,
po yung
Doc. Yeah. I think during sa
hanapan ko na lang po
I
ng literature, Doc.
I highlighted that one that you have to really consult sa assumptions ng MRA if you are to pursue MRA.
I will just find literature po because my theory po kasi si D. Young na dinidifferentiate po talaga niya yung facets under every personality trait. So,
hindi kasi procedure yun statistical procedure yun. So let the statistics do its
okay. Yung
Consult ka na lang.
multi-collinearity, no?
Okay.
Sige.
So, gano'n tayo dyan.
Hindi man totally mawala yung study mo. May matanggal lang talaga na Tapos wag nating pilitin kung mali. Kasi magiging template din siya sa susunod na ng research na okay nga lang sa kanya. Oo.
Mm-hmm. So, okay na tayo dyan. So, ang mo ayusin mo ang findings. Ang conclusion mo said should be brief and your conclusion should answer your hypothesis.
Problems.
The problems and so given all of this, what are you trying to say now? So ano yung mga hypothesis na gi-raise mo? Yun lang naman ang dyan.
Yes.
No. Okay. And we suggest that you review your recommendations again, huh?
Yes po.
And doon mo sa findings talaga, Ikwan. Doon mo sa findings i-base.
Okay po. So, itong mga HR, hindi na po masyado to valuable. Tama po ba ako? Kasi,
Pwede naman, pero alagay mo man yan sa discussion mo, hindi ba? Sa discussion nanto doon. Paano mo maano? If you feel na kinakailangan pa din yan nila sa ano, pero tingnan mo na lang.
okay.
See?
Doc Poy, pwede namang may ano niya, whatever he has included in the significance of the study, kung ano yung nakaano doon, then
Yeah.
it can be included.
Doon
It can
po
be the
ako
basis as
nag-base.
well.
Oo.
Doon po
So,
ako nag-base.
paano sila makinabang? Sige,
Yes,
yun. Pwede
Doc.
na rin. Sa significance. So, at least human-human na, I think. So, Ellie, ano man? So, Cedric, ano feeling mo?
Wala, gusto ko pong umiyak.
Ay, ba umiyak?
Hindi mo
Bakit?
parang, syempre
Really?
parang ang hirap po kasi mag-research. Di ba marami
It is.
pong nag-quit na rin mag-research because yun
I
nga,
know.
hindi basta-basta sa SPC. Di ko po
Yeah.
alam ang mararamdaman, parang mixed emotions ako na sana matapos na kasi gusto ko na rin magpahinga. Pero yun nga, kailangan talaga magtrabaho, maging patient. Mahirap kasi, Doc, pag i-juggle mo sa trabaho. Kasabay pa ng work yung pressure. So,
Yes.
Sige lang, Sed. May Christmas
Ah,
break. Do it during the break.
Naiintindihan natin yan. Pero with this break, I hope naman you can have more time for this. Ang atin dito is said, the earlier you probably attend to the the better.
oh yeah, of course.
Ah.
Kailangan na rin sa work, Doc, kasi kailangan na ng master's degree pag you're
Ay,
teaching
oo,
on the
talaga.
college.
Talaga.
Mm.
Oo.
Ay sis,
Ano?
baka kasi marami kami sinasabi, baka akala mo ang dami nun. Actually, pag mag-start na jud ka og sulat, makita nimo to na related ra gid sila tanan. Ang resulta ani is murag ma-refine and ma-polish imuhang
Kuan.
study.
Yeah.
And you yourself will be convinced sa results sa imong study and even sa imong recommendations, and you'll feel confident and proud after nga mao jud ni akong study.
Lagi.
Kaysa ka na murag ganig na ay doubts ka na murag magdili murag inani na murag lahi sa feeling, murag di kay nimo ma-share imong study kay mismo ikaw wala ka sa buko.
Nag-alangan ka.
Nag-alangan pod ka na feeling. So with that I think ma-appreciate ra nimo ang kuan. Gamay ra man to siya, gyud. Ang uban gani ato tanggalon ra nimo. Dili man to siya kuan, siguro sa Revlit lang kay mo matter dito sa discussion. And then the statistician's role also. And I believe they were doing their part naman. So all you have to do is append and discuss.
Sed, nakaabot ka na dito. Ilang steps na lang.
Lagi.
Oo nga.
Actually, may third party pa daw na magtingin ng paper. May outsider pa. May completion fee
Ay,
na
ano na
naman.
lang man
Hindi
yun.
na.
Reader lang yun. Just to
Ah,
check the grammar.
Reader.
Reader na lang yun.
Akala
So
ko
for the
may-
grammar and everything. Wala na.
Sana matapos na po talaga. Thank you po
Tapusin
sa
mo na
mga
siya ngayong
Ah, sige.
December.
Kaya yan.
Kaya mo
So,
yan.
ngayong break,
Yun nga eh.
Para
Thank
by
you.
January, wala ka nang isipin.
Yun po, I will really try my best na matapos ko talaga siya. Thank you po, panelists, for your comments and for your encouragement. Doc Rachel, Doc O, Doc Poy, Doc Sam, and to my mentor, talagang marami akong natutunan sa journey ko na to. And it's not easy, no? But seeing myself from day one, seeing myself right now, I feel proud of what I have accomplished. And I hope for positive outcomes, no? I really hope. And I will really help yung mga kasama ko, sila Ann, sila Freya. I will also support them as well
yeah.
sa defenses nila.
Good. That's the spirit.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
You have come a long way.
Paspas gani siya na human.
90% ka na
Oh.
lang. It's a matter of focusing. Wala na. Finishing touches ka na.
Yun nga eh.
Ano
Thank
kasi
you.
may pagka-OC kasi si Cedric. Gusto ko pwede palang ma-perfect.
Oh yeah. Personality
Sinasabihan
niya
ko
yan.
nga, sinasabihan ko nga siya, Seth, tama na yan, mag-rest ka na muna and everything. Kasi kung ganong oras na siya ng umaga nagtatrabaho.
Oo. Ganun
Hindi
talaga
lang,
eh.
Malapit na. Don't worry.
Naka-develop, yeah.
Nakita man na mo jud pud ang imong effort na gusto jud nimo in ani imong study ana naanad jud siya dadto. Oo. Pero naalang man jud kailangan pud ma-revise para mas magwapo pa imong study.
Yeah.
Part of the process.
Yes.
Ano
Remember, ipapublish natin to.
Yes. Oh, that's the goal.
Ako Dok, kahit hindi na ma-publish, basta matapos
Ay,
lang
hindi.
ako.
Dapat ma-publish.
Pagod na rin eh. Basta kung ano lang po yung makaya ko,
Cedric,
yun lang
huwag
po.
kang susuko.
Oh, nandiyan pa yung Ma'am Leia.
Sids katong sa stat nimo Sids, just like sa imuhang description gud sa imuhang instrument, murag imuha ra gud siyang isulat didto na normality siya pero blah blah or kinsa man to inani iyang na kuan. Tapos na-meet ni nga assumptions.
Okay
Then
po.
you go. Mao na to nganong ni-run ka og MRA. Ato to siya. Makita siya kay kung i-replicate imuhang study, they would know na ni
No, yeah.
sa kadto gyud na procedure.
Okay
Wala
po.
kay itago.
I'll cite it lang na nag-meet siya sa kailangan, sa standards.
Itong
Correct,
normality of data, Sid. Wala siya.
Yung
Basis
Smirnoff,
for
no?
Smirnoff Palmogorov.
Ilisa na nato nagkuan doktor sa dali litok kon.
Marami ko siya ka ng vodka, vodka drink sa Smirnoff.
Ted, makakala mo lang marami but I think later when you see the minutes, you will see kasi sa minutes ni Ma'am Leia, maigsi lang siya.
True.
Kasi marami ka lang narinig because
Discussion lang yun.
Discussion lang yun. Pero sa minutes yan, filtered na yan siya sa minutes kasi
Questions na lang mabilin sa minutes. Wala na.
Seds, ayusin ko lang pagkagawa yung sa discussion kasi sa discussion ang marami. I-arrange ko lang by kung paano siya gawin. Actually, summarize lang man talaga. Kaya mo yan.
Thank you.
Okay? Okay, go. Kaya. Sige. So, kain na.
Ano pong hatol mo sa akin, Dok?
Hindi ka pag
Congrats, Sids.
Congratulations, ha?
Approve ba ako, Doc? Ano bang hatol ko?
Approve.
Meron bang paper na hindi maa-approve?
Meron. Kasi natatakot ako baka mag-redefense ako. Yun talagang kinakatakutan ko kasi father ko nagbayad sa fee ko ngayon.
Doc Boy. Mag-decide na sa Doc Boy.
Magpasalamat
sa bagong rubric.
Magpasalamat kayo. Parents are very supportive.
Thank you so much, panelists, for understanding me and for understanding
Katong
my
Doc
research.
Boy.
Worth it lahat.
Anong gamitin natin?
Proficiently.
Yung last
90 to 95. Ang grade.
okay. So yung
90 to 95. Iiyak
yung
ka
ating
dyan, 90 to 95.
Iyakan mo ba yan 90 to 95, Seb? Nag-grade?
Ayaw mo ng 90 to 95 na grade. That is proficiently accepted ang paper mo because you are proficient.
Thank you. Thank
Dagan
you,
na may
Doc
comment
Sam.
or copy. 90, 95, kada ko, ana. Mag-celebrate ka na.
Malagi.
Ilan po
So,
score
okay.
ko, Doc? 95?
95.
90?
Si Doc O, mag-iyak na rin si Doc O.
95, Cedric.
Yeah, muna ako dahil sa may
Bisita siya.
visitor right now. Mag-excuse ako, pero congratulations.
Thank you,
Congratulations,
Doc.
Cedric.
Congratulations,
Thank
Cedric.
you so
Okay.
much po. Thank you po.
Yeah, thank you for for
You
helping
made it.
Cedric
You
out.
made
Thank
it.
you for the session
Oo.
today. It has been most fruitful, Cedric. So now you can kan. Huwag ka mo nang mamayang gabi, huwag ka matulog ka na
Rest
maaga.
muna.
Ha? Celebrate tonight and then sleep early.
Sabihin mo sa papa mo,
think about your
naka
paper.
95 ako. So,
Don't think
Kaya-
of your paper tonight.
kain tayo sa Vikings.
So, okay? Sige, bye.
Congratulations,
See you.
95 yun.
Congrats, Cedric.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Doc Boy, I will forward the minutes to the grad school within the day and then
Yes,
for
okay.
your signature.
Yes.
Ma'am Lay.
Cedric, congratulations. Yes,
Nakuha
Doc
niyo mo,
Sam.
Ma'am Lay, itong second, accepted the candidate proficiently, di ba?
Opo.
Kita nyo, second to siya.
Pag-una dahil taruguan, Dok.
Pag-una atong rubrics. O, talagang kay Cedric kasi may naghila kataas ng siya grade. Sige,
Bago na sad.
Pag-block na siya, reappearance.
Grabe ang nervyos and ang tension.
Naguna-una siya, reappearance. Wala man. 95 bang ka?
Naanaman tong elements yun sa research.
Yes.
Wala
Improvement siya
improvement.
kasi i-verify. Normality dapat.
Doc Rich,
Yeah.
dili na siguro na ako as one kato ganing gina-suggest nimo ganina ang ako ang variable kay di ba Doc Rich, if I will multiple regression ako tong separate katong industriousness ug ang orderliness, murag lahi man pud ang ilahang results, di ba? Lahi ang factors na
Ano siya akong nakita ato? Di ba you run ano ba yun? Simple regression using the overall scores?
Yes.
Otong na kay overall. Then you also run multiple regressions like you're treating the different factors independently.
Yes.
Okay. Walay problema sa simple regression. Kasi there's no, except sa normal distribution, yun yung assumption. But when running a multiple regression, doon ka magka-problema kasi marami siyang assumptions.
Okay.
In one of that, yung multicollinear, hindi masyadong or else redundant na yung mini-measure mo. Okay. Kung tingnan mo, I think mas mababa yung yung single yung simple regression. Ang sabi na kung utok ko single regression or simple regression yung neuron, mas mababa ang R squared.
Okay.
It's because totoo nga talaga na iisa lang yung kanilang mini-measure. Tapos, yung nag-run ka na ng parang hiniwalay mo na siya, parang nag-multiply din yun sila kasi nag-redundant. Kaya tumaas din yung parang contribution, kunyari nila.
Okay.
So, to filter that effect, titest natin yung multiple collinearity or multicollinearity kung meron pa. But it doesn't mean, wag mong iyakan kung tanggalin mo yung multiple regression. Kasi it just simply means that as a researcher, alam mo what to do, kung ano yung dapat. Kung hindi talaga siya amenable for that statistical tool, hindi natin pilitin. Doon tayo sa simple regression and analyze it. And dwell with the pros and cons or weaknesses and strengths ng simple. Now, kung pwede naman siya i-multiple, also discuss the strengths and weaknesses of that because that may impact siya doon sa interpretation mo rin sa data. Yun lang naman. Huwag kang makipagrelasyon kay multiple regression. So, kaya mo siyang hiwalayan anytime kung hindi siya swak doon sa standard mo. Parang ganun. Diba? Parang, Tapos, syempre may mag-redown din siya doon sa discussion mo. Pero not totally. Meron ka lang matanggal. Like, hindi mo na probably maisa-isa discuss yung variables. Pero, pwede mo siya i-discuss kung may correlation sila. Diba, una ka mag-multiple regression, dapat correlated sila. Yun. Kasi what's the point of predicting kung wala may relasyon? Oo. Pero hindi lahat ng may relasyon ay predictor. Oo. So, it's okay kung simple regression lang yung i-analyze mo kung hindi makamit doon sa yung variables sa multiple regression.
Okay. I-test ko na lang muna, Doc, no?
Hindi mabawasan ng grade mo niyan sa SPC. Okay lang din siya. Di ba, Doc Sam? What I'm just trying to is kung ano yung tama and the most appropriate na exhaust mo na procedure.
Okay. I-discuss ko na lang to with my statistician about sa multicollinearity, but I need to test it first.
Yeah. Kung na-meet niya lahat, so no problem. What you're going to do is i-add mo na lang yung figure.
The value, Doc, no, is moderate, low ba yun? Low or...
Oo.
Basta low.
Less kasi that would also, remind the readers na, meron palang konting relasyon itong variables na to. So, hindi din sila padalos-dalos sa kanilang pag-interpret dun sa data.
Less than 0.05 dapat. Sige po.
Oo. Okay lang yun siya. Wala man to kuan. Tabian lang yun imong panel siguro dagang kagis.
Mag-change mo ko ng framework, Doc, if tanggalon ako ulit.
Ay wala, as much as possible ako jutong kuan na dili maapektuhan imong framework. Ang imong framework as is siya, you only have to improve.
I-beef up lang.
Oo. Kaya kung maguba ang framework doc na, that is
Utro ka na pod.
Major revision na po.
Yeah.
Sige. Thank you kaayo sa tanan.
Okay.
Merry Christmas.
Okay.
Happy New Year.
Sige. Okay, Merry Christmas. Bye.
Bye po.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Doc Ann, nag-CR ko actually. Grabe na kayo kung pagka-ihi. Gusto na dyan kong ihi ganina pa. Nalang yung mga... Ha?
Are you okay?
Thriving? Oo, okay. Kasi hindi na ako mag-redefense ulit. Isa yun sa mga tinitignan ko. Probably yung... Marami kasi silang mga sinasabi. Doon ako medyo na ano.
Actually, Seth, it was just a discussion. Hindi lahat yung sinabi nila.
I-apply dapat.
I-ano yan ni Ma'am Leia, although i-re-record yan ni Ma'am Leia, pero i-filter niya yan up to one, kung ano yung pinaka-main doon sa discussion nila. Ganyan talaga yan. Sa akala mo lang marami, pero pag minutes na, konti na lang yan siya.
Oo nga eh.
So, huwag mo masyadong maano. Kasi if you notice, they are discussing what to do. So, hindi siya actually ganun karami. They will not give you a grade of between 90 to 95 kung marami.
Thank
Hira
you.
yung umaabot sa ganung grade. It's usually 80 plus lang.
Gosh, grabe.
Sa totoo lang, hindi ganon karami ang kanilang questions about sa results mo. It's actually more of verification and clarification. And then sa iyo lang yun na habang nag-discuss na pinapasok mo na yung corrections, tinatype mo na diretso yung hindi mo ginagawa sa iba na sunod-sunod nilang i-dictate sa iyo kung ano yung i-correct mo. Nagulat gani ako na pinayagan kanila na habang nagsasabi sila, kinokorek mo na siya diretso doon sa paper mo.
Para, makita talaga nila na I'm working with their corrections.
They don't do that normally kasi. Ngayon lang ako na nagpayag sila ng ganyan na directly kinalagay mo na yung mga corrections.
Online kasi, Doc, feeling ko parang advantage din siya or something. Pero, how did I perform, Doc? Did I give justice to this defense?
Yes, you did. As in, you did. You really did. Maganda ang pagka-explain mo, Seth, na ikaw ba, masyado ka lang kasi talagang perfectionist. You have to always keep in mind na in any defense set, walang defense talaga na perfect. Because you have 5 people there looking at your paper. And they will see things that we both cannot see. Diba? Tapos, ang purpose naman talaga is to make your paper better. Because the aim is always na, sinabi ko yun sa iyo before, mataas ang expectations ni Doc Posada sa iyo.
Lagi.
Because always niya yung sinasabi pa sa umpisa pa lang na dapat for publication talaga ang paper mo. O, na-pressure ka lalo doon.
Kung ano lang makaya, Dok. Gusto ko na rin magpahinga. Actually, naaawa na rin yung parents ko sa akin. Kailan pa yan matatapos? Because they can see me work and grind, no? Mga puyat ko. Pagod. Nakikita nila yun. Tsaka, sana, no? Like what you said, I will try my best to finish this December. Para wala na akong isipin pa sa January.
Para hindi ka na mag-rush kasi after that set, pag na-final na lahat yan siya, may reader pa. Ang purpose lang ng reader, lahat talaga ng papers pinapadaan. For grammar check lang yan siya mostly, as a reader. Oo.
Ganun lang.
Tapos kasi syempre, pag paulit-ulit na kasi natin binabasa, sometimes you don't see anymore kung ano yung mga mistakes, di
Tama.
ba? Katulad nung sinabi ni Ma'am Posadas, yung tenses mo, meron pa iwang hindi na-convert.
Kita ko yun.
Ganun. So yun yung purpose ng reader. So wala siyang technical na ano pa na babaguhin. Just the grammar if there is something to change.
Kala ko talaga like another version nila Doc Rachel ba? Nila Doc magtingin sa paper ko. Diyos ko. Salamat naman.
Wala na yun siya. Oo. Wala na yun siya. So, konti na lang actually, Sek. Kung magawa mo siya by December, kasi ang mangyayari niyan is i-route na lang man yan siya. Pag after mo na napasok ang comments, ako said, I would suggest para mas mabilis, aside from the minutes na table wherein you're going to write the page and corrections that you made, doon sa manuscript mo, i-different color mo yung corrections na pinasok mo para mas madali nilang makita.
Different color yung mga...
Di ba normally we use black?
Yeah.
You can, yung corrections na pinasok mo, pwede mo siyang i-blue. Then lagyan mo na dati ng note doon sa ano mo that the corrections you made are in blue para mas madali nilang makita.
Okay. So parang yung revision nila tapos yung color blue, yun na yung ginawa ko. Di ba naka-matrix yan, Doc, di ba?
Ang matrix mo doon lang sa minutes. Pero sa manuscript mo, ayusin mo na siya pati yung ano niya, yung sa technical na part, yung yung sinasabi ni Doc Sam, yung mga paging, yung mga format,
automatic.
everything. As if final na siya, except for the part na yung corrections na ginawa mo, you make it in blue so that it's easier for them to see. Para mas mabilis mo. And then yung matrix ng sa minutes mo, yung anong page siya nakalagay, ano ang correction mo doon, para everything is already there. Are you required ba to report sa progress report sa ethics? Ano nakalagay?
Nakalimutan ko na, Diyos ko. Tagal na kasi yung rec ko
Tingnan mo, tingnan mo kasi baka merong requirement of progress report sa ethics. You should not miss that.
Sige po, mag-email po ako sa kanila. I'll check the Facebook kasi nag-post sila doon ng mga updates.
Yeah.
Ethics Committee. So, Doc...
Para at least by January, pagtapos na siya lahat, hindi ka na rin mag-rush para sa pagpabind ng book mo and everything.
Lagi. Kasi rin kasi, Doc, parang afterwards, feeling ko kasi yung diploma namin, magbibigay pa siya after lang, June pa talaga, July or May.
Depende sa check kasi siya usually set. Ang check ang nag-ano niyan ang diploma I think will be released easier but earlier. But ang transcript, ang hindi natin alam kasi sa check ang transcript yung may mga number pa yan and everything. You need that sa para sa school.
Pa-request na ako, Doc, para magtaas na yung rank ko, para magtaas na yung sweldo. Yun talaga.
You require the original copy?
I think sa HR hindi naman po original. Basta lang meron akong mapakita na diploma. Kasi may certificate of completion pa ako, Doc, di ba? I need to pass that first. Para talaga verify na talaga ako. So, Doc Ann, I will remove the program. Tanggalin ko na yun.
But you keep the program, ha? You can use that as your, for your PhD.
Lagi. Sige lang. Ganun talaga, Doc, no? Basta sa kasi talaga, it is not yet final during the proposal. And after the, defense, may mga changes pa rin pala talaga.
Pero talaga, wala talagang i-defend na walang changes.
Feeling ko
Because
naman,
nagdagdag ka ng 3 or 4 na tao to look at your paper and
oo,
they
dami
see
akong,
different aspects of the paper. So, hindi mo talaga ma-expect na, na perfect.
dami akong, oo, dami rin akong, nag-seek talaga ako ng help talaga sa mga ano ko. I'll just find some way na mag-connect sa nagtulong sa akin sa stat ko para ma-address yung question nila Doc Bersamin. Ma-confirm ko yun.
But ako said, I always look at it as a learning experience because what you experience through your defense, what you heard, later on, pag ikaw ang mag-upo as panel or as mentor, you can share that with your students.
Na-apply ko nga, Doc Ann. Nag-mentor ako ng isang research group sa undergrad. So, na-apply ko yung mga sinasabi mo sa akin, yung mga sinasabi sa akin ng mga panelists, no? So, ayun. Slowly by slowly. Kayo, thank you kaayo, Doc Ann.
Kaya ako said, alam mo, even before, every time I'm requested to be a documentor sa defense, talagang nag-yes ako. When I was preparing for my dissertation, because I know that if I sat down sa mga defense and marinig ko na yung mga comments, ma-anticipate ko when it comes na pagdating ng defense ko. So, nakatulong siya ng malaki. Diba?
Galing.
Yung
Doc Ann, if may vacancy kayo sa grad school ha, if nag-accept kayo ng mga ongoing PhD holder, sabihan mo ko, I would love to apply to SPC.
Yeah.
I would really love to apply sa SPC, Doc Ann, to be honest, no?
Lipat ka na ng SPC.
Hindi ko pa pwedeng iwan yung mga psych doon. Parang, alam mo yun, kailangan, ayoko din.
Mas malaki ba ang sweldo ninyo kesa sa amin?
Hindi ako sure. Depende din sa rate sa position mo. If may mga na-publish ka na research, additional din yun. Oo. I'll just look into it, no? Basta, masaya ako sa mga ginagawa ko ngayon. Parang feeling ko, ito na talaga yung purpose ko, Doc Ann, to teach, inspire ng mga estudyante, ganyan.
Yeah, that's true. Oo. Tapusin mo talaga yan siya, Seth. And even if you say na nakakapagod mag-research, I will still tell you, go ahead with your PhD later.
Yes.
Kasi iba talaga siya pag may PhD ka.
Lagi.
More doors will open for you.
Exactly. Si Velasco, si Velasco, Doc, nag-research din yun. Mag-proposal ata siya ngayong December.
James?
Si James Velasco.
Okay. Si Freya, kamusta na?
Magpa-enroll siya next term. Hindi naman siya masyadong
Hindi siya nag-enroll pala ngayon?
Kasi gusto talaga niya na maraming participants niya talaga. Abot talaga ng meticulous din siya sa sa data niya. Ganun.
Or at least makahinga ka na, rest ka muna.
Yun nga, rest muna.
Sabihan mo na mami at daddy mo? Alam na nila?
Wala pa.
Balitaan mo na doon!
Ay, thank you Lord. Natapos na yung mga
Congrats talaga, Seth.
Thank you po.
You did really well.
Thank you so
much.
much.
And I like your prayers sa totoo lang.
Coming from the heart. I just type it, Doc, promise. Wala talaga. Like, talaga yun. Dire-diretsong type yun. Wala akong basta go kung anong maisip ko. It came from my heart.
Tama naman yung sinabi ni Doc Sam na magaling kang magsulat. And that's your advantage. Kasi, ang problema namin sa iba is, aside sa kung minsan may questions ka pa sa results, hindi mo pa maintindihan kasi hindi sila magaling magsulat. And that's always an obstacle din minsan ba? Kasi hindi mo maintindihan minsan kung ano yung results nila because of that. At least sa iyo, wala ka namang problema doon. Kaya, hindi ko tutuusin, hindi naman ganun kadami ang questions talaga nila about your results. Hindi pinaulit ang results mo kasi yung iba pa-recompute, ipapaulit talaga and everything. So, sa totoo lang, minor lang yung corrections.
Lagi, Doc Ann. Si Doc Poy talaga yung nag-mediate. Feeling ko, siya talaga. Kasi pag si Doc O medyo, grumpy na konti, parang si Doc Poy ang nag-mediate na. Kalma lang.
Pero konti lang ang sinabi ni Doc.
Oo nga! Sa kanya ako natatakot.
Tahimik siya.
Sabog yung proposal ko talaga, di ba, Doc? Sabog yun. Major revision ako noon, di ba? During my proposal. Kaya takot na takot ako. Diyos ko, ano kayang sasabihin?
Tahimik siya ngayon, and that says a lot. Natahimik siya, nawala siya. Kung i-recall ko, I think ang question niya mga isa or dalawa, mga dalawa or tatlo lang. Clarification most. And that says a lot. Diba? Ibig sabihin, you did your paper well. So, congrats.
Thank you.
Balitaan mo na si mommy and daddy mo doon, and then you relax mo na for 1 or 2 days bago ka magpasok na iyong comments. Anyway, wala pa naman ang minutes from Ma'am Leia.
Okay. Thank you so much. Approve, Doc, ha? Approve yun.
Yes, between 90 to 95 ang grade mo.
Thank you.
Thanks kasi yan siya, okay? Congrats.
Kahinga na ako. Bye-bye po.
Bye-bye, Seth. Bye.
Sige po.